guys, good morning. It's October 7th, 2022, and today's live stream is going to be packed with 26 quilts and projects. So really on this live stream, I would love for you to have like paper, pencil, because we're going to talk about Scrappy September, which I'm still working on. We're going to talk about end of year quilt-alongs that I'm going to join. We're going to talk about wrapping up what's currently open in quilt-alongs, and then we're going to talk at 2023. So there's going to be some stuff you've seen before, some totally new stuff, and we're going to probably be referring to my quilt journal quite a bit because it has a lot of the information I might need to refer to. And considering that all of what I talk about for 2023 is going to make its way into the new Lori Holt planner. And with that, I'm going to have a video, like a standalone video, where we talk about how to schedule out your quilt projects. You know, a lot of you guys ask, you know, how do I do so much? I just have a lot of lists. But I hope with the 26 ideas that we have today, there's something that you like. We're going to go into detail into all of it. And we're going to answer a lot of your questions that you had from last week on Sewcialites. So I'm going to start with Scrappy September, and the first one that we're going to talk about is Brickhouse. So Brickhouse, I'm sure you're familiar with, completely free pattern. I'm loving it, and I made a first quilt. I auctioned it off for Ukraine, and I am loving it so much I'm making another one. And I do think I'm also going to probably just keep making this one because I love it so much. And the reason I love this pattern is you just need a little bit and you can make rows. So I'm going to show you the blocks I've made, but I'm also going to give you some tips and talk about future ideas and how I'm going to complete my quilt. So the first one is Buttercup and Slate by Corey Yoder. And the 3.5 and the 2.5 inch rulers are great. So this is CGR 212, CGR 312, and these are great because you can just do long cuts, you know, just stack a bunch of fabrics, cut them, and then subcut them down. So I will say I am using these two rulers a lot when I make this one. So this is Buttercup and Slate. And what I do with the color placement in this is I'm trying to do one color a row, because when I mixed and matched, I felt like it's too busy. So if you do it by rows, it kind of keeps it really nice. The quilt finishes at 62 by 66, and the block is 12 by 13. And it's the second time I'm making the quilt. I wanted to show you on this one, my gray goes all the way across and my yellow goes all the way across. This next one is Stateside by Sweetwater. And this one, I didn't have enough to do 2 rows of dark blue. So I added brown on the left side of the door. And you know, on this one, I did have to add this fabric, which is these 2 fabrics, which are from a previous Sweetwater because I didn't have enough. And I'm trying to do the roofs different colors so that when it goes together, all the roofs are different, all the chimneys are different. This one is Sun Washed by Corey Yoder, and this one I was able to do the different rows. I'm going to show you at the end them like together. I'm going to show you some other different tricks that I have for this one. And remember, this is a completely free pattern at fatquartershop.com. This is Cinnamon and Cream fabric by Fig Tree. And same thing, I had extra brown, so I put them over here. I didn't have enough oranges and greens. This is Stitched by Fig Tree. I think I've made like a million things out of this collection. I love it. I do try on this one to only use the fabric once. So I try to only use each thing once so that I get the full. That's why I like this block so much, because if you have leftovers, you can make this. You should, you know, usually you have like a 2.5-inch strip. So fun. And I did a small version of this, and I think it's on the back of my other quilt that I auctioned off, and I'll probably do the same thing on this next one. And then my last block that I finished is Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea. But what I want to show you, I'm going to lay these out real big, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the chimneys, the roof. So I have 6 done, and I wanted to talk about the backgrounds. So a lot of times I don't have enough background from a collection left over. I just use anything I have on hand that's left over. So these 2 are the same backgrounds. This one was from my stash. This was from my stash. And then these 2 are from A Beautiful Day, left over from the charity quilt. So that is one thing, all the backgrounds are just random. I'm trying when I sew them just to make sure I have different chimneys, colors, so that when you look at the quilt, your eyes, if you've made all the chimneys the same color and everything else scrappy, when you look at the quilt, your eye would go to the chimney. I'm trying to do the doors a very background / low volume, something not very busy, because I want the door to stand out, and if it's busy, it's going to get lost. So I try to pick something with a lot of background in it. For the roof, you have a couple of options. So right here, I used 3 different fabrics right here. But what you could do when you read your pattern is these 2 could be the same. And then your roof would be like across. So I know a lot of people use these 2 as the same fabrics. I wanted to be able to have an extra fabric. But if you look, I try to put a stripe, a plaid, or a dot. This one's a dot. Because if you just put like a floral, it's not going to stand out. So I do try to really have this stand out, because then it looks really scrappy. So those are like some tips I have on the current 6 blocks. And I'm going to just keep making this block I'm going to make these quilt forever. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I was thinking I could actually make one for my bed because of that. But then another thing, not only that, I wanted to show you how I color my blocks. So I use Electric Quilt, and we don't sell Electric Quilt. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I am very non-tech savvy. So when we design quilts, we use Adobe products. When I'm coloring, I use Electric Quilt. So MODA fabrics came on Monday to order, and they give me leftover cap sets. Because they give me leftover cap sets, that's what I'm using to make everything that I'm talking to you about in Scrappy September. So once I do a video showing all of those cap sets, I'm going to take it home, starch it all, and make blocks. But I wanted to show you how I color my blocks. And I think this makes me a little bit more efficient when I get home. So I do color my blocks. This is Sunnyside by Camille, Fruit Cocktail by Fig Tree, Bliss by Three Sisters. And if you guys know of flea market, there was a flea market collection years ago, and it was so popular, it looks just like it. Union Square by Bennett and Simpson. So I draw it out, I place my colors in, and I print it. Now, looking at this, obviously this is not right because I don't want red on red, so I'll change that. And I don't ever sew them exactly like this, but it tells me I have enough blues for this because this uses 4 fabrics. I have enough yellows to do this. And you can see this has more colors, so I put an orange here, my light blues here. So, and then this one, you can see I colored all the way across, and I picked very light. So I'm gonna make these 4 really soon, and you'll notice I did try to put a stripe. This one is, this one might need a change. But I do like to make sure these 3 really contrast. So this one I'll definitely change. This, I'll just circle it. Like, I don't like this. I don't like that. Those will change. And that, when I get home, this is just a guide to start with, which makes it more efficient rather than having 40 fabrics all on the table. That gets you a little flustered. So that'll make 10 blocks. And then with these 2, it's going to make, or these 4, it's going to make 14. And then I'll need 2 more. And then I'll need some for the back, a small one for the back. So this is Country Rose by Layla Boutique. We just got this in stock. This was actually in my first quilt I auctioned off. I love the collection, so I'm going to make another one out of that because I love it so much. This is Sugar Berry by Bunny Hill, and love this one. It's very similar to the Flower Garden, which is out now by her, really cute. This is Calico by Lori Holt. We just got the sample yardage this week, so I'm able to go ahead and make my block out of this. I am going to be showing you the fabric live and in person. And this is Christmas Eve by Layla Boutique. And I just kind of look at it, and overall, I don't see anything here that looks too off. But when I'm sewing, I just cut my pieces and lay them out on a design board. And so what I'll do is, like, I will have it like this on my table. And I will cut piece by piece and put it here. And then when I'm sewing, I can kind of refer from here to here. So I'm always using design boards. It's one of my favorite things that I have in my sewing room. So that is, now how do I get the image? So I use a program called Electric Quilt, and I draw it out, and then I use that program. You could do Adobe, you could use anything, but these are my EQ plans for, and I try to, when I do these, I'll do like a big batch, like 4, 6, 8, all at one time. And then I'll give it a break for months. You know, then I don't mess, I don't do anything. And then I'll go back to it. I am pressing this one open. The only seam on this block that has to match is right here. So you actually do not have to press open. Oh, and right here. These are the only 2, let me show them here. These are the only 2 seams that you have to line up. So it's a very beginner block, and this is our 2022 charity 2022 free scrap quilt. At the end of the video, do we need to lock the image? It keeps doing. We're gonna lock the thing so it stops fuzzying. But I did want to let you know we do have the 2023 Scrappy designed, and you're going to get to see part of that in a little bit. Now I have great news. Lori's sew-in interfacing arrived on Friday, last Friday. ST-4913. I made a Scrappy Strings quilt that you saw recently, and I might auction that one off. But I'm going to make a second one because I loved it so much. I just love it so much. So I'm making another one, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. So I'm going to show you. It is in the Scrappiness Is Happiness book, and it's 8 by 10. And the instructions are in this book, Scrappy Strings Quilt, Scrappiness Is Happiness. You do have to have this interfacing. So I wanted to show you the first quilt I did. I used the leftover fabrics that I talked about that I get from the cap sets, and I was making like 3 or 4 from each collection Because I'm on my second one and I've already made one, I decided to just use one collection. So when this quilt is done, it's going to have 80 different collections. So it's going to take a lot longer because I'm going to have to work with 80 collections, which is going to be, you know, a lot. So this one's going to take me a while. This is Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree, American Beauty by Robin Pandoff, Buttercup and Slate by Corey Yoder, Sun Washed by Corey Yoder, Stateside by Sweetwater, Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea, and Stitched by Fig Tree. Now, this quilt is a lot of fun because you can rotate and you can do them all. I think this is how the quilt is designed, like this. So you have your centers, or you could do them all the same way, and it would just be like strings going. So there's a lot you can do with this. So I do think on my second one, the first one I laid out exactly like she has in the book. Which you can see all the circles meet, which was that first thing. But this time when I put it together, I think I'm going to make them all straight, and I'm going to put that note so I don't forget, because I do forget a lot. I'm going to put layout same direction, not rotated. But that will make my quilt this time look totally different. And oh yeah, are you calling it the capset quilt? Yes, I should call it the capset quilt. That's really funny. But I don't want to give those, you know, I want to put them to use. Now I do only use the ones that I like. So I do eliminate some, but then we those go in, we sell the leftovers to, or we give the leftovers to employees. And I'm using one collection each time, and this quilt comes out 64 by 80, but you could always do 10 by 10, and that would be 80 by 80. So this is Scrappy Strings quilt number 2, designed by Lori Holt. And this one, I'm going to be using all those collections you just saw that I just showed. All of those will have this made with them also, but I don't color the Scrappy Strings because I don't really think that that's necessary to color that one because it's scrappy. I do feel like the Brickhouse is scrappy, but it is planned scrappy, so that's why that's drawn out and this one's not. The next thing that I started in September was log cabins. So I love our 6-inch foundation paper because you get 100% accurate and 100%, they actually finish exactly at 6.5. So I made these log cabins. It's great because it just uses 1.5-inch strips. This one I'm going to do 1 block per collection. This paper is log cabin quilt block foundation paper. I'm using the 6-inch size. My tip on this is, well, first I'm going to tell you the collection names. This is Sun Washed by Corey Yoder, Buttercup and Slate, Corey Yoder, Stateside, Sweetwater, Simply Delightful, Sherry and Chelsea, Cinnamon and Cream, Fig Tree, and Stitched, Fig Tree. So you will see between the 4 quilts in Scrappy September, I'm using those same collections over and over because I'm trying to use up every scrap of it. I will say, doing this one, using Lori's seam press roller is very helpful because you can press like the first one down, and before you go to the iron, add the next one. And the reason is, you know, then you could iron. It just saves a step in ironing. And I also found that using size 90 needles really helps pull the paper off good. So that's kind of my tips. Now, I wanted to talk about color placement and what I did on this one. I did one color in the center, one color on the first ring, but I did two different prints. Yellow, two prints. Aqua, two prints, and I did that throughout. And each block I used one background. And like I said, these are just leftover backgrounds from groups. So this was from my stash. This was from the cap set. I think these are from my stash. So and the reason I'm not doing a lot of backgrounds out here is I feel like it would take away from the design I have going here. And I do really like the look of kind of the planned rings. If you don't like that, you could just make it completely scrappy. I just kind of like the planned aspect of it. Now, on this one, I haven't decided what layout I'm going to do, but I do love the layout of Sweet Escape by Thimble Blossoms. And we sell this as a PDF pattern, and we do have paper patterns coming soon. So I think I might do a similar layout to this, but if I do that, I'm gonna have to sew some blocks that are just background blocks. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. I think I'll have to make 12 of these. Now I could just put in a 6.5 inch square, or I can do it textured like she has. Now this is different. This is not the same block. It's a different size and it's pieced different and it has more, but I'm just saying for the layout, like if I'm gonna do this top row, this would be just a white on white. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So you can see how I'm gonna take this layout. Oh, yeah, I think this is right. So it's just a little bit different. But I do think I'm gonna, and that's one thing that you can always kind of mix and match. You know, you can take someone's layout, buy their pattern, change the blocks. But that's what I think that I'm going to be doing with this one. So that is Log Heavens. Now there's a question that says, when making scrappy blocks, do you ever use low volume prints in a quilt along with the background print? I have some low volumes that I'd like to use and not throw out. Well, I came up with this for low volumes. You will notice in my blocks I just showed, you saw very little low volume except for the door in the Brickhouse. The reason why is I just have a hard time making them look good in my quilts. So I decided the economy block uses bigger cuts. You know, it's not little skinny 1.5 inch strips or anything like that. It's bigger cuts. So all those collections I just showed, I'm using low volume for that. So this is Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree. Now what I'm doing with this one, so you can see, I'm using 2 blocks per collection, and there are 9 different fabrics per block. So, and I write things like that so that when I go back to it, I remember, because I have a lot of quilts. You can see there's 26 quilts you're gonna see today. I cannot remember all of that. I wish I could. So this one, what I'm doing is keeping the same center, the same, you make these squares and you cut them on the diagonal so you have 2. So I just use the same ones. I don't make them match, and I just put them, and then when I make my quilt together, I'll separate them. I am thinking this one, I will do a very skinny 1 inch finished sashing, 1.5 inch cut sashing, and it will be scrappy. There will be scrappy pieces from this. So when I keep going, I'm gonna start cutting 1.5, I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna cut 1.5 by 6.5 inch rectangles to keep, and then when I'm done, I'm going to put them all together, and I'm probably going to put a cornerstone right here, and the cornerstone will also be a background. So it's just going to be totally scrappy, and then I'm going to put 1.5 inch squares, and that'll just remind me what I just came up with. So this is foundation paper. This is called Economy Block. It is designed by Lori Holt. It's also available in 12 inch. And the log cabin is also available in 12 inch. And all the instructions for both pads are right here. And I'll probably make this quilt pretty big. So, and I'm thinking I might give this to my sister-in-law because she loves modern. So that's cinnamon and cream. These couple are all the last two, Nantucket Summer and Dwell from Camille, all just mixed together. I just happen to have a lot of it left over. So like these two are similar, these two are similar, and these two are similar. So it's just a mix of, because all of that matched really good together, so I just mixed all those together. Low volume just means backgroundish fabrics. Buttercup and Slate by Corey Yoder. Stateside by Sweetwater. Okay, another thing I'm going to do, when I'm done, I'm going to do this. Like when for today, it won't be, well, I'll show you some more, but then I'm going to show you how I keep them separate in the quilt, how I keep everything separate. So, this is Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea. Just so you can kind of see how it's going to look. Cookbook by Lori Holt. Sun-Washed Corey Yoder. And Stitched by Fig Tree. So what I will do when I'm totally done with all my blocks, I'm going to make 2 stacks. So I'll do, this collection is 1 stack. So each one goes in 1 stack. And then I will use a big design board and I will just lay all of these out. Boom, 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 boom. Lay out sashing and then these. That way they'll never touch. And then, like, say I have the stack up here and the stack down here. All I have to look at then is the row here with this stack, the row here with this stack to make sure they don't touch. But if I lay them out, stack 1, stack 2, then that will work. And the same thing here. The quick press seam roller and the size 90 needles really make it easy for my kids to pull the paper off. Dwell is going to arrive in October, November. I don't understand the foundation paper. Why not just follow a pattern as normal? What does foundation paper do? Okay, I'm going to show you. We have several. We have pineapple paper, we have log cabin paper, we have courthouse step paper, and this is a selfish product. This is made because I wanted it, and I needed it for myself. So this is just something that helps me. I am going to tell you why I picked different ones. This one I picked because I like my blocks to come out exact, and I always ended up with wavy strips because I sew so fast. Using the paper, this is the wrong, okay, this is the wrong paper inside. It doesn't match. I don't know. We put one of these on front of this. Sorry, I'll just show you courthouse steps too. Just don't get confused. That's just stuff that we do behind the scenes. But with courthouse steps, I don't want it to be wavy. If you stitch on the line, it's gonna come out exact. And it tells you exactly where to trim. So you'll get a really nice result. The economy paper, I have always struggled with square in a square. And we work with Lori Holt to make her products, and she designed this one, and I was so happy because I've never been able to make this block correctly because I do not, for some reason, my square to squares never come out right, and it will just make your block come out perfect. You don't have to use foundation paper. You can do whatever you want. This is just a product I made to make my life easier in my sewing room. And in the quilting journal for this year, I'm at 48, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I'm at 48. And this one, there's one not in here, but the reason this one's not filled out is I came up with it yesterday. So those are all my current those are all my Scrappy Septembers. Yeah, so if y'all want to know, this is what we do. We taped this to the front of this. Who knows why? We do crazy stuff here. Now I'm going to move into current quilt-alongs, and this is going to give you an update on things that aren't scrappy. They're just planned quilt-alongs. This one right here, the first one, is Christmastime Mystery Quilt-Along. This is the quilt kit that you get, and really fun because the leftover layer cake squares make a pieced backing, which I think is great. This is a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop to you, free. We have video releases every Tuesday, and we've done 4 so far. So not only do you get a free pattern, you also get free video. And that's great because you can ask questions if you have questions in the comments, and Ashley will get you the answer. So this was part 1, part 2, part 3, and this week is part 4. So next Tuesday, you will get the finishing video that's going to show you how this goes together in a quilt that finishes at 23 by 27. We do have quilt kits available, but I will say I have really loved seeing all of the different fabric collections that you have used, because it's just great to see that you're using your scraps at home. I wanted to just kind of brag on my It's Sew Emma team. They put together the most beautiful patterns that are great for beginners, and they just look lovely. They're full color, and if you're a beginner, It's Sew Emma patterns, even though it's my company, the reason I created patterns is because I wanted some that were so great. Okay. So that Barnstar sampler question, we're going to leave there because I am going to answer it in a little bit. So the letters to Santa is something that I started, and this is a Lisa Bonjean pattern. This sew along started at the beginning of the summer, July. Started in July, and this is an older pattern by Lisa Bonjean called Mini Alphabet Quilt. It is a PDF and a paper pattern. I decided I wanted to make mine in Christmas Stitched by Fig Tree. The final layout will be 72 by 92, and I'm going to show you a pop-up of my version. So this is colored for Sarah colored this one for me, so she drew it out. She took the pattern, drew it out in Adobe, and colored it for me. I am going to tell you the SKUs I'm using in a little bit. I am hoping this can be displayed in my house this year. So I'm hoping that next week is the last check-in. So next week is the final words and all that stuff and layout. So I'm going to be looking for that at the end of October on MODA's blog. And once I have that, I will get it all pieced together and find a quilter that has time in their schedule to get it done for the end of, for Christmas. So these are some of the accent blocks. And again, I'm going to tell you the SKU numbers I'm using in a little bit. These I did want to show you. These little accent blocks right here. The accent blocks, you can find the instructions on MODA's blog. For this sew along, you do need the pattern, but you need to visit MODA's blog. There will be 4 entries, 1 per month, and you have to get that for your layout. This one I was really worried. I thought it was going to be super hard. It's a template. It's basically foundation paper. It's very similar to the It's Sew Emma. So what I would do is find some thin paper. So you could either go to Office Depot and find typewriter paper, or you can buy Carol Doak foundation paper. But you print it out on a thin paper and you cut it out and you get perfect blocks. So this is what it looks like when you print it off from MODA. So here's some accent blocks, and I'm just going to show you the blocks I've done. And the next time you see this, I think it will be all pieced together and done, because I am very highly motivated to get this one done. There's a lot of blocks, guys. A lot of blocks. So again, I am using Christmas stitched, and I picked 4 greens and 4 reds. Did I skip the sashing between the L letters as well as I? I skipped the sashing, the extra sashing on the L's, but I left the I's the same. And I did change cider to holly, and I made cider, I changed that word and did jolly instead. And then I changed Rudolph to holiday. This is the longest word, nutcracker. And this is very easy. This is a very, very easy, something great for a beginner. I would just say it takes patience because it's a lot of small pieces. And using design boards is great. My hint for you on this would be do 1 word at a time. Don't try to cut this, this, and this. Do 1 word at a time. So I would start and I would cut my pieces, and as you follow the pattern, for example, find one. Like this one. If you were going to cut this, I would just cut, lay it on your board. Cut, lay it on your board. Then you can sew it at one time, go back and forth to the ironing board to do your letters. But I definitely think if you try to do so many letters at one time, you're going to get frustrated and make mistakes. So that's my best hint to you. And another thing you can do is you can always cut this piece and this piece a 1/4 inch wider, trim it down. That's how all of this is perfectly pieced, is because, and you do have to buy a little bit extra fabric, but that's one of my tricks. And on the back you can see pressed open, most of it, just so it's nice and flat. But this one, I am going to display this one on the back. I have a couch and the back of it always has a quilt on it, so I cannot wait to get this on my couch. I think my kids are gonna love it. I'm thinking about putting Minky on the back actually, because I think Jordan owes me Starbucks. I made a bet with him. I just won the bet. Oh, gingerbread is the longest. Yeah, I think I just won a bet. Okay, so this is Wish's Mitten gingerbread. I was gonna try to find one with that letter that we, the L, but I haven't seen one yet. But I'm thinking on this one, I'm gonna put Minky on the back, because anything that's in my house that has Minky on it is what gets used. And so I'm gonna try to do Minky. And rolling up the words like this keeps it where they're not as wrinkled, because you get one crease instead of, if you had it all folded up, you would have 3 creases instead of 1 crease. And I'm really happy with the colors I picked. And I do think this quilt, my tip would be making sure the background you use is a background with nothing else on it, because if it has other stuff, it's gonna get lost in there. The background I used is 2045721. The binding I used is 20443-15. And see the L? We just took that extra sashing out. The backing I'm probably going to use a Minky or Shannon Cuddle fabric. That's what I'm going to use. I will pick the fabric next to my, basically what I'll do is take the quilt, take the binding, and find one that matches. What was the bet? The bet was, he said we could fit the word all the way across. And I said if he loses, he has to go get me Starbucks. And if I lose, I have to go get him Starbucks. So you can see how we changed the L right there. Okay, so now Minky, I need a Minky tutorial. We have a lot of Minky tutorials on our channel. And they are the Shannon Education Director, I'm trying to think of her name, Teresa Coates. She did a lot of videos for us on that. So for Letters to Santa, I told you the background, the binding, and see I have a backing listed here, but I'm probably going to change that. And writing in pencil is good because I can erase it, or friction pen because I can erase it. My reds, 20443-15, 20444-14, 20446-15, 20457-14. My greens are 20444-12, 20457-12, 20457-13, and 20443-13. So that is Letters to Santa Quilt Along. The next quilt along I've been working on for all of 2022 is the Quilting Life Block of the Month by Sherry McConnell. This is block number 10 for October. She gives 2 size options. She gives a 6-inch, which is this, and 12-inch. So you can make either or. When I was making this, I used H100 to make these and these, I believe. So anything you're doing small, triangle paper is great. Zoom in, please, she says. There you go. So I'm just taking a sip of a drink just real quick. So every year Sherry McConnell does a free block of the month. This is like my 2nd or 3rd year doing it. And I wanted to point out what I did on this one is, because I think I'm going to give this to Kevin. I don't know if I mean, I am, but at the same time, what's he going to do with it? Because it's 6-inch blocks, and I think he needs a blanket that's much bigger than 6-inch blocks. But I'm going to try to somehow work it into something. I might make it like a little table cover I could put in his closet or on his little table in his office. I'm going to do something and give it to him for Christmas. So this I decided to do with Flower Pot by Layla Boutique. It came out later in the year. I put the green and the gray in the center, and then all of my churn dashes that are on all of the blocks, blue. So I used 6 different blues twice. So this one I'm pressing open. This one I didn't press open right there, but I mean, a lot of the small blocks you will see that I press open, and you'll see sometimes I press to one. This one right here is pressed to one side. It kind of is just whatever I feel like at the moment. So there's 10 free blocks. By the end of the year, there will be 12. So if you're ever looking for a free sew along, there are several on a Quilting Life's block of the month. This is block 10, and I used H100. And at the end of the year, you will get to see the quilt put together with whatever I come up with. And it's okay to do a different finishing. So I know because it's for Kevin, I'm probably gonna do a different finishing. I haven't seen Sherry's design for finishing, and sometimes you guys think that I'm, you know, like maybe it's rude that I don't use her finishing, but I'm friends with Sherry, and I know that Sherry, she doesn't care. And I'm always just trying to add something different. So even if I take someone's free pattern, I'm going to change it up a little bit, because if I come on this channel and just show you the same stuff everybody else does, there is no reason for you to watch. So I'm always changing things up. That's just what I do. That's what I do in life. That's what I do here. And it's not an insult in any way to any designers. For the letters for Santa quilt, I started with 1 yard of every print of red and green, and I started with like 6 yards or 7 yards of the background. So this one's free. The next one I'm going to show you is Oh Happy Day by Corey Yoder. This is a brand new martingale book by Corey Yoder. I took this to Office Depot or Office Max, or actually I didn't, Denise did. So this is spiral bound. We just paid to have it spiral bound. Oh Happy Day is a brand new book, like I said, from Martingale. Corey Yoder's the designer. If you go to her blog, she has this list of fabric requirements. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. It's very similar to what she's doing. I'm going to take a little drink real quick before I do that. So this one, you need the book, and then weekly you will go to Corey Quilt's blog, and she will give you a free instructions on what you need to do to make that week. So last week was this. Now, I am doing something different. The blocks in the book are all 12 inches, but I'm going to make mine 6.5. So mine's just going to be smaller. So this is week 1. And if you want the cutting that I did, just go to last week's video and it will show you exactly what I cut to make it different. And this is block 2. I am using the Buttercup and Slate Fat 8 bundles. Last time we talked about this, these were sold out. We now have them back in stock. I will say a lot of the yardage is sold out. I cannot get more, and I'm so sorry about that, but we have plenty of Fat 8 bundles in stock. So that's great news compared to last time. And the background I'm using is 2913411. It's actually from A Beautiful Day, because it's the same designer, and I just happen to like it. It's got these little vignette florals. So that's what I'm using for background, which is different than what she's doing. My quilt, the quilt that she's doing finishes at 62 inches square. Since I'm making mine smaller, mine's gonna be 31 inches square. This one right here is Generations of Love, page 32. That's block 1. Block 2 is Friends Forever, page 26. And this is what it looks like in a pillow. Now I'm going to show you, we're going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to give you some tips on making this block, whether you do this 12 inches or 6 inches. So the first, well, I'm going to talk about 6 inches first. So right here, what I did is I used H200 triangle paper, which is Triangles on a Roll H200. That is by Triangles on a Roll. And I do own that company, just to be clear and be transparent. But that's what I did here. Now, when you do that and you use triangle paper, you get 2 triangles. I have this half square triangle bucket going where I am saving all my leftovers. So the other half of these 3 is in my bucket. So that's how you do this to get this accurate. So that's step 1. Right here, these I cut 3-inch squares. No, I cut 3.5-inch squares cut on the diagonal. And then you sew these here, and it's going to look like that. And then what I did is I took a regular Creative Grids ruler, lined up that edge, which is right here. Just line up your 45-degree line that you see on the ruler. You line it up there. And since I made these 3.5, not 2 7/8, I had a lot of room left over, and you can see that room right there, and I just chopped it off. Once I did that, I cut an 8-inch square. Sorry, I did an 8-inch square, cut it in half, added that, and then the next image is where I take the Creative Grids and I trimmed it down to exactly 6.5. And you can see there's waste on there, but that's how I get my blocks exact. Now, what I did with the other half of that, so when I cut this, I had another half, right? When I cut this, I had the other half of that. I made half square triangles out of those scraps and put them in the buckets. And next year, you're gonna see something awesome that I come up with half square triangles. So that would be my tip, is to use, whether you're doing this, whatever size you're doing, I would do triangle paper here. I would cut these larger, whatever size it says, add 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. This, whatever size it tells you to cut, I would cut maybe 1 inch bigger. And then that's how you get your blocks bigger. Now, because I do funny things like this, I have to buy extra yardage than required. But since I'm using 6-inch size, not 12, I have plenty of fabrics. So that is Oh Happy Day. Get the book at fatquartershop.com and go to Coriander Quilt's blog and follow along each week. There will be a total of 12 blocks, 9 blocks, I think it's 9. And when I'm done, I will show it to you. And I'm going to show it to you each week and give you tips each week. Now, the next quilt along is support group. We have a pattern in available, written by It's So Emma. I'm going to show you how awesome the pattern looks because our team is amazing. This is designed by Lori Holt. We are raising money to benefit the National Breast Cancer Foundation, and we are hoping you can donate $15 to that. The link to that is on the Fat Quarter Shop blog. It is also on each product for support group on our site. Now we have the pattern, and we have a lot of quilt kits. Sorry, I'm just moving some stuff over here. So this one was made by, I don't remember who made this one. Sorry, I don't think we wrote it down. Oops, it's okay. I said it last week. So this is row 1, and that's for our sew along would be row 1. Made and quilted by Gina. That's right, Gina Tell. So she not only made it, she quilted it. So if you want yours quilted just like hers, she'll obviously know how to quilt it. So this was week 1. Please donate to National Breast Cancer Foundation. We have raised $7,716. And then I'm going to donate $5,000 with Kevin. Lori's going to donate $5,000, and then hopefully we'll get to $20,000. So we're about $3,000 away from our goal. This is week 2, so this will be what you're sewing next week. This will be week 3. This will be week 4, and Jessica recommends this mini folded corner. And if you didn't get to see Jessica's quilt last week using different fabric, you definitely got to check that out. One thing that I think is really great about this quilt is obviously we're raising money for charity, but you'll notice this piece binding. And I'm going to kind of show you how basically when you're cutting these, it's a great time to cut these, and I'm going to show that to you. So I hope you're sewing along. The pattern is amazing, so thank you to Lori for designing that. So this is our week 1 block. So Teresa sewed these for us. So there are 3 bras each week. Each row has a different bra. So these are for this week. And what she's doing is as she cuts the pieces, these are her bindings. And the same thing when she puts this quilt together, she'll probably sew like pink to gray to green through all the colors. Then go back, pink to gray to green. That way it stays scrappy all the way through, and that's why she's keeping all her fabrics together so that she can do that. So we've got kits, we have a backing set, and the kit comes in a really cute box with all of this lovely stitched fabric from Lori Holt and enough background fabric. So this is the background, and the kit comes with the pattern. So thank you to everyone who's donated. I hope that we can get to our goal of 20,000. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to answer some questions, and then we're going to take a little break. So what is the biggest size of snail trail foundation paper? We have 12-inch in that. So yeah, we have 12-inch, 6-inch and 12-inch. Getting ready to starch for Sewcialites 2. What spray do I use? It's right here. This is what I use. And I buy it either online. There is like a warehouse that will sell it really cheap. I can't think of the name of it right now. Some of you customers have told me about it. You can get it on Amazon, and I can get it sometimes at Target, sometimes at Walmart, and sometimes at my local grocery store. I kind of just get it when I can, but this is what I like. I don't understand how to get the basket. Okay, so let me see the basket, and I'm gonna just make sure that you're talking about the same one. So this basket right here, I saw at Home Goods like, I don't know, 9 months ago, and there was 2 of them, and I bought both because I just liked it. Now, I don't know where you could get it now, but I will say if I see another one at Home Goods, I'm definitely going to buy it because it is so cute, and it was really, really inexpensive. Is the bra made from a layer cake? No, they are made from fat quarters. Am I going to Quilt Market? I personally am not going to Quilt Market. Jessica will be going to Quilt Market to represent Fat Quarter Shop. She will be social media and the whole thing. And the reason I'm not going is because I have 2 kids in football, 1 kid in dance, and 1 kid in basketball, and I will not miss any of my kids' events for anything. So, but you will still get all the coverage. We will still give away bundles from that. You will still get all just like we were there. What was the pantograph used on support group quilt? I would say ask Gina, or just send it to Gina and have Gina quilt it because she quilted it, so she knows. Is it possible for y'all to make heart in a square papers, or would applique be a better idea? That would be really hard to do because you have designs going this way, and that doesn't really work with paper. It doesn't just like layer. How long has it taken you to get where you are on the Christmas quilt from Primitive Gatherings? Oh, probably 60 hours. Long time. Okay, the Barn Star Sampler book is out of stock until December. Where else can you get it, or do you have fabric requirements? Okay, so I am going to read you fabric requirements when I get to that section, and we have plenty on order, and you don't have to be in a rush to start because we're holding it until January, but I think it's sold out everywhere. But it is in reprint, and as soon as those come in, we will have plenty, but I will go over fabric requirements. And so what I want you to do right now, anything I went over, which was Scrappy September or my current quilt-alongs, I want you to put questions in so that I can answer them. What I'm going to be going over after the break is the future sew-alongs that you probably don't know much about, and then even those are going to be for this year, and then I'm going to go over a ton of new stuff for 2023. So I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Robin Pickens. This is my last year's Sewcialites sew-along. I hope that you are doing this year's. You can find me at robinpickens.com for my blog, on Facebook, Robin Pickens Color and Quilt, and Instagram, Robin Pickens. Please come sew with us.
Hi Sewcialites, my name is Barbara Groves. I design quilting patterns, books, and fabrics for MODA. I like to hang out on Instagram, so follow me there, and I'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Jessica Dayon, and you can find me on my blog at jessicadayon.blogspot.com and also on Instagram at jessicadayon.
Hey Sewcialites, my name is Camilla Ross Kelly, and I am a MODA fabric designer and pattern designer as well. You can find me online at thimbleblossoms.com, on Instagram at thimbleblossoms, and even on Facebook under Thimble Blossoms by Camilla Ross Kelly. I'm excited to sew with you guys.
Hello, I'm Doug Lico from Antler Quilt Design. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Doug Lico.
Hey y'all, it's Susan Aki here, and you can find me on Instagram at yardgrl60.
Hey everyone, I'm Beverly McCullough of Flamingo Toes. You can find me at flamingotoes.com and at Flamingo Toes on Instagram and Facebook. Super excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bonjean from Primitive Gatherings. You can follow me on my Stitch with Lisa Bonjean on Facebook, my blog at lisabonjean.com, Instagram at Lisa Bonjean, and my Stitch with Lisa Bonjean YouTube channel. See you there.
Hi, I'm Lisa Alexander from MODA Fabrics. You can follow me on both Instagram and Facebook at MODALisa with 2 S's.
Hey everyone, I'm Andy Knowlton. My company name is A Bright Corner. Come and visit me at abrightcorner.com or on Instagram and Facebook at A Bright Corner.
Hello fiber friends, Sharice Nicole of Sew Hooked on Treasures. You can find me on my website, sewhookedontreasures.com, which conveniently has the links to all my socials, Pinterest, Instagram, you name it, at Sew Hooked on Treasures.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Stratton and my pattern company is Chelsea Stratton Designs. I'm so excited to be a Sewcialite, and you can find me on social media at Chelsea Stratton on Instagram and www.chelseastratton.wordpress.com for my blog.
Hi, I'm Sherry McConnell. I'm super excited to be a Sewcialite again this year. You can find my pattern company, Quilting Life Designs. You can also find me at my blog, www.aquiltinglife.com, and on all the other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest at A Quilting Life.
Hi, my name is Corey Yoder of Coriander Quilts. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Coriander Quilts, and on my blog at corianderquilts.com.
Hi, I'm Joanna Figueroa, and my company is Fig Tree Quilts, and you can find me on Instagram at Fig Tree & Co, on Facebook, and my website is figtreeandcompany.com.
Hi, I am Vanessa Gertson of Lella Boutique. I am a quilter and fabric designer for MODA Fabrics. To find me on social media, just look for Lella Boutique.
Hi, I'm Jackie McDonald, and I design for MODA Fabrics under my brand Sweet Fire Road.
Yay! I am back. I'm going to answer all of the questions that you've thrown in. I did get a question about the ring I have on that is, I bought it 7 years ago in Mexico. It is Pandora, and they at Pandora have like just little, like you just try them on. It was like $40, and I've had it forever. Does using the Lori sew-in backing for the string block make the block stiff or the quilt heavier? It does. I still use batting in mine because I like to be super warm, but when Lori quilts hers, she does not use batting, so that will be just a personal preference what you think. I also use batting when I put Minky on the back of a quilt. I always use batting. If you are using the full-size block in the Oh Happy Day week 2, what triangle paper would you use? H200, which is 2-inch finished. And will Kimberly have her layout for the 3, 6, and 9? I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Can you use fat 8s? Okay, I'm going to talk about that. So we're going to move into the Sewcialites, and I'm going to talk a lot about Sewcialites. And I'm going to cover a lot of what I did last week, but we had so many questions. So I'm going to go over everything again and hope that I cover it. But we have a group called Sewcialites Lounge on Facebook. Definitely join there, and we have a lot of people answering questions. So there are 24 designers, and they have designed all unique sampler blocks. This will be a completely free sew-along from Fat Quarter Shop to all of our lovely customers in 3-inch, 6-inch, and 9-inch. Every Friday starting October 21st, with breaks for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're going to release a block in the morning. After that, I will go live and show you how to piece. And it's going to end in April. So it's going to go all the way from now, October until April. And I'm going to go over the fabric requirements. So the fabric requirements you can download. They are, if you go on fatquartershop.com and search Sewcialites 2 information packet, everything is here. We are suggesting a layer cake for the 3-inch blocks, 32 fat quarters for the 6-inch block, and 32 fat quarters for the 9-inch blocks. Now, I've seen a lot of questions, like if I have 2 layer cakes, can I use that? This is not so much like a Bible. You don't have to take this literal. This is a guide. So if you just have layer cakes, see if you can make it in the 6-inch. You probably can. You might have to make some adjustments. If you have, do you know what I mean? Like, just take all of these. I don't want to say, it's just a starting point. It's just a place to get you started. You don't have to be literal about it. But I do want to tell you the background. I'm going to define some things. The background means this right here. The fat quarters or layer cake are these prints. The finishing fabric requirements, if you look at this pop-up image, the pink, the green, the blue, and the gray, friendship stars, those are the 4 fabrics that are used there. Now, if you're not using our setting, you don't have to buy that. And if you're going to do my layout, you don't have to buy that either. All of these quilts are pre-cut and scrap friendly. When we first developed this program, it was just to use scraps. But then y'all didn't like it because y'all didn't have enough scraps. So then we wrote down pre-cuts. But then y'all are kind of like, oh, I don't have that exact pre-cut. This is flexible. It's meant to be something free and fun. So don't take everything so literal, just have fun. And I will each week go into detail on fabrics and how different fabrics look. And we have the 3-inch blocks sewed with Nutmeg by Basic Gray. And so you will see each week that the 6-inch are gonna be Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly. And this right here, this background is Grunge color 542. The next blocks are 6-inch. And I will be talking about what I will be doing in just a little bit. The 6-inch block uses Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly. The background is 55276-32. The Dwell fabric collection will be arriving in around November, maybe October. But you don't have to sew exactly what I'm doing. So this is Dwell. And so one of the main questions we got is, am I going to talk about fabric placement? Yes, I am, but also each time you're going to see a 3-inch sewn, a 6-inch sewn, and a 9-inch sewn, and those are 3 different collections, and you can really pay attention to where we put our fabrics. And I can give you some different options as I'm sewing, and you can always ask questions. So that's like the first batch. I'll show you the second batch. Sewcialites, would Sewcialites work in 2 colors? Yes, it would. And I will be live sewing Sewcialites every week. And Teresa sewed all of these blocks for all of you guys to be able to follow. And we will be showing them each time. And so I think, you know, showing you 3 block sizes, 3 different fabrics, that's going to really help you with color placement, because you can decide which one you like best and then kind of use that as a guide. And I am hoping in Sewcialites, my goal always is to answer any questions you might have to help you become a more confident sewer, and also give you my little cheat tricks that I have come up with over the years, how to get your blocks to be really nice and straight and the right size. This fabric collection is Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree Quilts. The background is 2045721. And that is part of the collection. So we picked 3 totally different collections, 3 different styles, and this is going to be all free for you. A fat quarter assortment, will it be enough if I want to turn the 6-inch blocks into a 12-inch block? I'm not sure. You probably need a lot more fat quarters, and I would say you probably need half a yard. You're probably going to run out. And to stay organized during the quilt along, we do have a Sewcialites binder that you can put all of your information in to keep it organized, because this goes from October to April. You're gonna lose things. So this is meant for you to keep organized. And if you have this from the first one, what I would do is just keep the first one in the back and then add your second part to the top. That way you don't have to buy another one, but you definitely need some type of binder to keep you organized. And huge thank you to Teresa for sewing all these blocks. Last time I did it, and I thought I was going to have a breakdown, so I was like, I don't know if I can do that again, even though I love sewing. So this is Cinnamon and Cream. So now I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do, and this is kind of throwing all of you off, but I would just start with the fabric requirements that we gave you on that download, because it doesn't have to be like perfect. Just start with something. You can always add or delete as you go. I'm going to be using a Dwell fat quarter bundle. That's what I have already starched. And I have purchased 5 yards of my background, which is 55276-32. My binding is going to be 55275-13. I will be making blocks 1 and 8 on camera and the 9-inch size. I'm going to do blocks 9 through 16 in 6-inch size. Then I'm going to do blocks 17 through 24 in a 3-inch size. The reason I'm doing that is so that if you are sewing the 3-inch, you get information. If you're sewing the 6-inch, you get information. And if you're sewing the 9-inch, you get information. So everybody is equally covered. But that has everybody kind of upset because we don't have a finishing for that designed. It will be done, and it will not be soon. It will be like further along in the quilt along. And the background fabric requirements will be fine. Just start with that. And we will have more information later in the year, including Jocelyn's finishing. So that is just something totally different that we added this year, and it's all free. So just try to be patient. It's free. It takes us a lot of time on our end, and we want to make you as happy as possible, and we are going to. It's just not all available right this second. Now, I am adding the Sewcialites into my 2023 book, and the reason I'm doing that is this finishes in April. So I don't want to have to still be working on my 2022 book. So I'm going to consider that, even though I'm starting in 2022, I'm putting it in my 2023 book, and I am going to do a video talking about how I use this, just to see if that's something helpful that y'all can use at home. So this is Sewcialites, and definitely join the Facebook group because we can answer questions, and just know that as the sew along goes, anything y'all want to know, I'm going to help you with. This is all going to be great. Don't worry if you don't know exactly what you're doing to start. If you make scrappy binding, do you sew end to end with straight edges? It's up to you. When Lori does it, she does a mix and match, but she mostly does straight. On the support group, she did straight. So this is Scrappiness Is Happiness, and I wanted to tell you we are going to have a quilt along. So this is probably the first time you've heard about it. So I'm going to go in depth about the Scrappiness Is Happiness quilt along. This goes with Lori's brand new book, Scrappiness Is Happiness. Beginning on Halloween, we're going to have 32 weeks of making blocks. The fabric requirements are listed on the blog. I'm going to read them to you. You're going to need scrappy backgrounds. If you're using one print, like I am, you need 4 yards. Scrappy fat quarters. So Lori she put together this bundle specifically for this sew along. It's called Scrappy Happy Starter Fat Quarter Bundle. We have a lot in stock. This is like all the colors you would need to do this. It is a mix of several collections. So that's what she recommends for the fabric for the blocks. For the backgrounds, if you're not going to do the 4 yards of one print, she recommends the Lori Holt Scrappy Background Fat Quarter Bundle. And that is also a mix of different collections. And both of these, luckily, are still in stock. So you need the book and scraps. For sashing and border, when you look at this image, you see that this is a little bit creamier. The scrappy background listed on the first line is for the blocks. The 3 1/4 yards here is for all that is in the darker color, which would be like sashing, border, all of that. I am going to show you what I'm going to do in a second. For binding, Lori picked 10928 Cayenne, and for backing, she picked wide back 12040 red, 7/8 yard binding, and then for backing, you either need 2 5/8 yard of 108 inch wide or 7 7/8 yards of 44 inch wide. And we are also going to have a bonus piece backing, and those fabric requirements are on page 2. So you can just download that and you will see that. So just to summarize, if you're going to make this similar to what Lori is doing, she has 2 Scrappy bundles for you to start. You would need to also order binding, sashing, border, and backing. And what you'll do is on October 31st, come back to our blog and you can download the finishing pattern, and it's going to be completely free. You just need the block instructions, and this is going to give you something different that was in the block. So 32 weeks, free finishing pattern, October 31st. This is what Lori recommends, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and not only what I'm doing, what I did, because I've already sewn the blocks. So it's giving you 2 options because we always like to give you a lot of options. So we have Lori's option, and now I'm going to show you my option. And this is the Prairie Fat Quarter Bundle, and I am using this for my blocks. Or I've already made the blocks. I made them like 3 months ago. So I used the bundle. I had a lot left over, and I have not used that in any of my Scrappy September stuff because I am saving it for something else. So that's why you didn't see that. So this is that bundle. And then I'm going to use one fabric. This fabric right here is 12320 teal. I am using that as both my background for my blocks and my sashing. So I started with 8 yards and I had a lot left over, but you're supposed to start with 7 1/4. I started with 8, so I would have enough. So basically, the reason I'm not doing mine scrappy and I'm doing mine by collection is anything that Lori comes out with, I like to have at least 1 quilt made out of it. And the scrappy, I've already sewn with those quilts because I sew something out of all of her collections. Now, I used this. I will say I did not use any of the purples. So I'm so sorry for all the people who love purple. I know you're going to notice, but I didn't use the purple. Now, when I finish the blocks, this is how much I had left over. So I will use that for something else. Now what I did is I made all the blocks that I'm about to show you, and then I took the free finishing, cut all my pieces, and used the Wonder Clips and Alpha Bitties, and it's ready to go. So, and I even cut, these are the borders right here. Now I cut my fabric length of fabric. So because I cut it length of fabric, I cut this first, and then I subcut this from that. So that is what I have for that. So you saw the bundle. I picked this for backing and binding, and in fact I didn't pick it, Lori picked it for me. So this is 10928 Cayenne, and I am going to do a 44-inch wide because the Prairie 108 wide has not arrived in the store yet. It should come any day, but I wanted to go ahead and get mine done. And this is going to be, this is 12-300-coral, will be part of the pieced backing, and I'm going to show you that at the end. So now what I'm going to do my fabric requirements take starching into consideration? Yes, this one does. So now what I'm going to do is we went in order of the book and the sampler. Okay, I think I said that wrong. I'm going to go in order right now and show you all the blocks I made. So, and this is going to be the order that we sew them in when this sew along starts October 31st. So just a big huge thank you to Sarah. Sarah colored this with Lori for me so that when I got home I could just make the blocks and I didn't have to think about coloring. Each week I will give you tips on different things. I kept notes of all my tips so that I could give you tips each week. And if you want to sew this in Prairie, I would start with this image I'm going to show you. No. What I would do if you're going to use Prairie, screenshot as I go, because then you've got your colors. And so I'm going to leave the blocks long enough for you to screenshot. That's a tip from Denise. So this is the Busy Bee block. This is the small. And this is the large calico mushroom blocks. This is the check mix block. Crisscross star block. It took me 3 days to make these blocks. This is the Happy Trails block. Second Lincoln Logs block. And of course, if you're sewing and you want to use purple, you can, definitely do that. This is the Plaid block. The Tall Pumpkin Patched block. The Santa Hat block. This next one's pretty big. I'm not sure. We'll see how. This is the Scrap Apple block. There we go. Well, let me leave it a little bit longer in case y'all are going to do a screenshot. And what I meant was this is the block background. But the other part, I'm just keeping it all the same. I like it to be not too scrappy. I mean, it's scrappy, but plain scrappy a little bit. This is Scrappy Crossroads. Really easy. And one tip I would give you before you start the sew along, take your fabric and cut 2 2.5-inch squares from whatever fabric you're starting with, because it's used, 2.5-inch squares are used throughout. Very helpful for this block. So you could even cut 3 if you wanted to, but starting off with that is really helpful, because if you have those squares already cut for every fabric, blocks like this are super easy. And she always uses lots of 2.5-inch squares. This is Scrappy Strings. So you'll notice this one looks really different than some of the ones I showed you earlier. So this is Scrappy Strings. We can tell Kimberly loves to cut fabric. Oh, I love to cut fabric. I could just cut all day. But what we did on this one was, it's all strong fabrics. I left any type of background fabric out. So a little bit different. And on this one, I just used the smaller strip size instead of mixing and matching big. There's 3 sizes you can use. I just did the smallest instead of all 3 because it uses more fabric and I think it looks cute. Is one package of Lori's interfacing enough for this large quilt? For the sew along, you only need the interfacing for 1 block. For this, Scrappiness is Happiness. This is Shortcut Star. Spare squares. Again, these are 1.5, I think. Oops. Twinkle, Twinkle, Scrappy Star. The Apple Block. Blossom Block. And when I made these, I cut about 4 blocks at a time. So I would cut 4 blocks at a time, put them on my design board, do 4 at a time, and that's how I was able to get all that done. Good morning, Christopher. Christopher Thompson says hello. He works at Riley Blake, and he's also a designer there. This is the large checkerboard block, or checkerboard star block. This is the large checkerboard block. This is the checkerboard star. This is Grandma's Donuts. Now, okay, so go ahead and cut 3 2.5-inch squares and 1 1.5-inch square, because you're gonna use it on blocks like this, and it just saves so much time. Granny Star, In Flight, and on In Flight you actually make 2. Neighborhood block, and then this next one is my favorite. Patchwork star block, and I actually made these 3 months ago, so I'm gonna see. Yeah, I did press open. I was like, I don't even remember what I did. Yeah, I did a mix and match, so it depended what block it was. So patchwork star, patchwork tulip, quick broken dishes, also 2.5-inch squares would work. Quick dash block, .64 block, and this is another reason you need to cut all those 2.5-inch squares, because these are 2.5. So really scrappy. One thing I did do on this one, and I'll talk about it during all my tip sections each week, I did some of the stripes one direction, some of the stripes a different direction, just to make it look a little busier and scrappier. Spring basket. This is probably my favorite block. Tall, oh, I already said I had a favorite block. What can be my block number 2? Tall pines. And I have a lot of fun tips on this one. Yeah, so I must have just done a combo of pressing. And then toy sewing machine. Now on this one, I think you're supposed to like do a little embroidery of the needle. I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to answer the questions that have come in. So, oh, Christopher Thompson says he's excited to make something from her book. And even though I published this book, I don't remember the next question. Are they alphabetical in the book? I don't think they are. I don't know. Let me see. Let me go to the... Okay, they're alphabetical within sections. So we've got one block wonder, just add sashing. So they're alphabetical within each section, and you always have a really nice table of contents that you can refer to find that. Now I'm going to show you again. I mentioned we're going to have a scrappy backing. So just keep in mind this is my binding and my backing. These are some of the blocks that are going to go on the backing. It's going to be very scrappy. And I sewed in one of my Sweetwater labels right there, and so it's got my name. And by seeing this today, it gives you hints to where you could start. So this gives you enough hints to where you could start, because you're going to see all the blocks. Now, I ended up using this in the backing, and I should not have, because that's going to be there. So when I piece these together, I'm going to try to have these not touch the edge of this, like have it where it's hidden, if that makes sense. I'll show it to you when I finish. It's not working today. This is the first 4, that's 8, so you need 12 of these. So this is a hint for the backing. And then, just for fun, I thought I would show you, I keep all of my blocks on this, well, I keep all my backing on this tray. So here, these are like little things, mistake, show and live stream. These are all things that I did wrong that I'm going to show you on live stream. So even though, I'll just show you. Y'all think I'm perfect. I'm not. See, this is supposed to go somewhere else. That's that spring basket block. I don't know. So anyway, I am going to show you mistakes I made throughout. I did keep notes on every single one, so that I can give you tips each week. Okay, so let's see. Patchwork star isn't in the book. Patchwork flag is. It will tell you when you come to our blog that day. So when you come to our blog, it's going to tell you what page to go to. It's going to tell you exactly where to go. So you don't have to worry. Every block is in that page, or what you need will be there. So you don't have to worry. I have the book. So are all these the sizes in the book? Yes. So all you need is the book and fabric. Everything else we will be giving you throughout. And we have this cute little shirt. Scrappiness is happiness. So I will wear this when we start the sew-along. So cute. Love it so much. So that's something to look forward to. That's the first time y'all got to see that. But I think I've given you enough hints to get you started, because that's why I said at the beginning of the live stream, make sure you have a pen and paper. I'm trying to be as detailed as possible so you always can go back and look at what I'm using. Now, just keep in mind, there are times I change my mind. So, you know, in 6 months, you might see a different backing, or you might see something different. I have the right to change my mind. But I do try to usually keep it the same. So that's a new sew along. This next one is going to be called Simply Stars Quilt Along. This is Simply Half Yards, a brand new book. We did a trunk show of every quilt in this book on September 16th. We will be doing this, and you're going to see a closer image in a little bit. This is going to finish at 64 inches square. We're going to start this on November 15th. The sew along is November 16th through the 21st. These fabric requirements right now are on our blog. So I'm going to read them to you. You need 7 half yards for your quilt blocks, 4 yards for your background and your border, a fat quarter for your accent fabric, 3/4 yards binding, and 4 1/4 yards backing. So I'm going to start showing you the blocks I did. Also, I wanted to let you know it tells you November 16th which block you're going to do, November 23rd star blocks, December 7th reflection blocks, and so on. It's going to tell you what you're going to do. So if you want to get ahead, you can. This is a beautiful book Sarah put together using full color, really nice paper, really beautiful book. So what you're going to need for the sew along is you're going to need the book, and you're going to need the fabric requirements I just read to you. This is a completely free download, and again, this finishes at 64 inches square. The quilts behind me, I am going to show you what those are in a little bit. Don't let me forget. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the blocks. They will be, I think, in the order well, we're just going to show you the blocks. I don't think I wrote down exactly the names on this one. But I am going to, while I show you the blocks, read what I am using for my blocks. These are already made. So this is what is already made. There will be tips each week that might help you. I am using the Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree Quilts collection. The background and border is 20457.21. I'm going to start with 4.5 yards. The requirements are 4, but I always start with a little bit more. Now, all of these blocks, I'm going to use a 1/2 yard of, and I'm going to read you the 1/2 yards I used. 20451.18, 20452.12, 20454.19, 20455.18. And by watching this, you can tell exactly how many blocks you need to make. 20456.12, 20456.14, 20457.26. My accent color is 20453.14. My binding will be 20457.22. My backing as of now is 20451.11. And I hope Cinnamon and Cream will be in stock in time for the sew along. I think it will, but we're hoping. Now, during the quilt along, I'm going to give you tips just like I always do. And I'm going to also tell you paper you can use on each block. But what I wanted to do, I'm going to show you pop-ups of different colorways to help you pick. So the first one is Cinnamon and Cream. That is the one I just showed you, my version. That's how I sewed mine. I did want to let you know we do not have a quilt kit. I know some people are upset we don't have a quilt kit. The reason we don't have a quilt kit is we planned this sew along way after we ordered the fabric. And once fabric sells out at MODA, I cannot get more. So if I would have known about the sew along, we would have had kits. We just don't, because we don't have, and we don't have a kit for any of these because we designed these after. So this is Cinnamon and Cream. The next one, Calico by Lori Holt for Riley Blake Designs. And this one, we just used a couple of the colors, but it would be also beautiful if you used the entire range. This is Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly from MODA. This is option 1, and you'll see blues, greens, pinks. The next option is just blues and greens. It has no pink. So we'll kind of show those a couple times together. Just changes that outside star. Pansies Posies by Robin Pickens for all of you lovers. We have so many people who love Robin Pickens, and Teresa's going to make this one. So when you come each week on the live stream, not only am I going to be doing the Sewcialites block for you, I'm also going to be showing you different people's blocks and giving you tips if they have any tips for you also. This one is Strawberries and Cream by Laundry Basket Quilts for Andover. And Riley from our content team, she used to work in customer service. Now she works in our content team and she loads fabric. She will be making this one. And I love this fabric. This is brand new from Laundry Basket and so pretty. I love when Adita does collections that are two-toned, like red and white, blue and white. I love those. And this last one is Zinnia by April Rosenthal for MODA, and Nancy is making this one. So any of these that we have just shown you, you can always come back, take a screenshot of the work we've done coloring it, print it out, and it's kind of like ready, set, go. So that is Simply Stars Sew Along. Now we're going to move to a new one. And I haven't talked about this one yet, so this one's brand new for you guys. So this just got released, the information just got released, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it and what I'm going to be doing. So this is the Home for the Holidays Sampler Quilt Along. It is hosted by Sherry and Chelsea, featuring their brand new book, Home for the Holidays. Their finished quilt is 72 by 93. I'm going to be doing a smaller version. Mine will be 67 by 88, and I'm going to show that to you in a little bit. You will want to visit a Quilting Life blog or her YouTube channel for fabric requirements. I am going to read them to you though. No, I'm not. They're too long. So they're different. So Sherry's quilt, I'm going to pop up. For Sherry's quilt, you need 1 fat quarter bundle with at least 34 fat quarters. What she used right there is the Emma collection. You need 2 yards additional background or half yards of 4 different tone on tone for backgrounds. 1 1/4 yards border, 3/4 yard binding, 3/4 yard contrast sashing, which is that gray, 2 yard sashing inner border, and 5 2/3 yard backing. So when you look at Sherry's right there, all the information I just read you is on her blog. This is her version. Now, they created 2 beautiful quilts. So the second quilt is Chelsea's version. So Chelsea used red and greens from Emma, same collection, and she used 4 red fat quarters, 3 gray fat quarters, half a yard of 2 light green, half a yard of 2 dark green, half a yard of 2 pinks, 2 1/4 yards background, 1 1/4 yards border, 3/4 yards binding, 3/4 yard sashing, which is also that gray. They use that same gray in the sashing, 2 yard sashing inner border, and 5 2/3 yards backing. So we're going to kind of alternate between the 2 just so you can really look at theirs. We got these images from their blog, so you can go, and I'm sure they're going to talk about color placement and all of that. Now, when I saw this, I of course loved it. I love Sherry and Chelsea. I always want to support them. So I'm going to sew this starting this weekend. Now, this is what I'm going to use right here. It's okay, you can pop that up. So that's going to be my quilt that I said is going to be 67 by 88. So you'll see, I just did simple sashing. I did not do the corners. I didn't add an inner border, an outer border, or anything. And the reason why is I thought 72 by 93 was a little too big. And I didn't want to, a lot of times I just shrink the blocks. I didn't want to do that because I love these blocks. So I'm just going to do a different sashing so that or a different setting. And what I'm going to do is I am going to have cornerstones cut at 3.5 inches square. And I'm going to cut my sashing 3.5 by 18.5 inch square to make a quilt that's 67 by 88. I wanted a smaller quilt to put in my living room. And I wanted it to be out for Christmas. So I am going to be using reds and greens from Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea. These will not be out until next year. The reason I'm using these though is Sherry and Chelsea used Emma. I didn't want to sew the same thing because there'd be no reason for you to come watch me because I would have nothing different than them. And I also like to sew my sew-alongs with their fabric since they're hosting it. So I'm doing mine a little bit different. I got 4 reds. Go back to that image real quick. Sorry. Yeah. I am using 3 greens, 3 reds, and 1 pink for my blocks. And I colored that about 2 months ago, which is why I had to ask Jordan to just do that because I cannot always remember what I'm doing. And I'm going to look in my book real quick for a note. I started with 3/4 yards, just to make sure I had enough. I'm going to have extras, and I'll use those extras in all those Scrappy September. So this is what I'm going to be using. I'm using Chelsea's as an inspiration since I loved her red and green, but I didn't want to copy her because there would, of course, be no reason for you to watch us. The blocks will all be 18 inches. You do need the book. Denise is going to spiral bound it for me. My background is going to be 37644-32. This is my border and sashing. I wrote the number wrong. I wrote 3764-32. That's missing a number. So, I don't know, it's close to that. And my backing is 37643-1, which is all from the Simply Delightful collection. And then these are my reds and greens. And if you want to do something similar to Chelsea or me, they have these colors in previous groups that you can get. So you could easily find 3 greens, 3 reds. I threw in a pink because Chelsea did and it looked good. I didn't want to put too much pink, but adding pink will be really fun. So it begins October 12th. They will be making their posts every Wednesday on the a Quilting Life blog or the Quilting Life YouTube channel, and you will be able to choose the fabrics you want and the 12 blocks you want to create your heirloom sampler, because I'm going to point out by showing you their 2 quilts again, they use different blocks. So that is Chelsea's, but on Sherry's, you will see the block, the top center is used in Sherry's, but not Chelsea's. So you can mix and match your blocks, not only your fabric, but also your blocks. And I'm actually going to start this weekend. And just so like a behind the scenes type thing, I will take this home and starch all of it. I will probably do 2 blocks at a time, and I'll cut them. If I wake up and I am in like the best mood ever, which could happen, I could cut all of them and just stack them. If I think I can go 12 to 15 hours straight, which sometimes I do, I don't think that's going to be possible this weekend, but it might be Monday. I'll just stack them and I'll just go through it. And I'll tell you, I'll keep track of my time and tell you how much time it takes me. So that is a brand new one. The next one I came up with yesterday. And you can definitely use Lori Holt Christmas yardage for home for the holidays. That's a great idea. You can use whatever you want. I just use the designers on camera because I'm trying to support them. Okay, so this book is not out yet. It's arriving Monday though. And Martingale, what they do is they send me, well, they send all companies that buy from them a book of, like, they send us a shipment each month that has what's coming that month. That way stores can flip through, see what they like. And I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally have to make that. I love it. It's on page 27, and I'm going to read you the fabric requirements. It's 28 by 37. You need 1 charm pack, 1 yard cream for blocks and sashing, 1/3 yard green for border, 1/3 yard binding, and 1 1/4 yards backing. Okay, so now I'm going to talk through Kimberly's version, because I don't ever go by exactly what they say. Oh, I want to give credit to who designed it too. Jen Daly, or Jen Daly. Lots of pretty pictures too. So I looked at this and thought, oh my gosh, I still love that Fresh Fig Favorites collection. So we're going to pop up the image that Jocelyn color coded for me. So Jocelyn was so awesome, and what she did is she colored it, and that makes it easy because just like you can print screen that, print it out, and sew. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to print screen it, go home, and sew. Now what I want you to notice is you have to take in consideration at all times the fabric you use. This I think is Kansas Troubles, Pam Buda, or Lisa Bonjean fabric. I'm sorry, off the top of my head. I think it's Lisa Bonjean fabric. You will not see very many backgrounds. The Fresh Fig Favorites collection has a lot of backgrounds. So to improvise, if you do not starch, you can start with one charm pack if you're gonna include all those backgrounds in here. You can start with 2 charm packs if you want to have less background. Or if you want to take the black out, which I did, you'd start with 3. So I'm going to pop up that image again. This is a lesson in being flexible. So to make that the way I want to make it, you would either need 3 charm packs, which I know is excessive, or if you want to be Kimberly Jolly and you want to starch, this is what I'm starting with. And I know it's excessive, but I have to do things that I love, and this is what I'm going to do. So because I'm going to starch, I'm going to start with this. And then I'm going to show you the fabrics. Now, none of it's cut down, and the reason why is we just picked this less than probably 15 hours ago. So the background I chose is, because we're going to cut this up into a kit, we just haven't had time. The background I chose is Strawberries and Rhubarb 2040721. Jocelyn picked 20431-16 for the border. I picked 20414-13 for the binding. And I always kind of go with the light fabric for a backing. It's just something I'm kind of known for. This is 20415-11. So we're going to pop up that image again. And I'm going to make it. So what I'm going to do, we're going to have a sew along. And we will do a blog post. And we will do that in a couple of weeks. Because I came up with this yesterday. So because I came up with it yesterday, we obviously don't have a blog post because we just came up with it. But we will put all the information I just said in a blog post. And we'll probably start this like in November. And I'm just going to do like, I'll probably be first week in November, second week in November, third week in November, fourth week, first week of December, second week of December, and then the finishing will be the third week of December. And for this, same thing. When I go home, whatever day it is that I'm going to sew this, I'm going to starch it all at one time, piece all the blocks at one time. I keep notes on any kind of tips. But if you're going to sew this and you want to starch, you have to start with something bigger. You could start with a Jolly Bar or a layer cake. If you're not going to starch, definitely use a charm pack. Can I check to see if the 5 inches in the quilt are 4.5-inch blocks? Yes, because she says she finds charm packs are not all 5-inch squares. Okay, give me 2 seconds to look off camera. That is a great question. So you do need the full 5 inches because you're going to be cutting some like 4 2.5-inch squares. So if you are worried about that, you buy bigger. That's why I buy this. But it's wasteful. It's expensive. The reason I'm able to do it is because I own the shop and I just have access to way too much fabric. There's no way you can make all 26 quilts unless you're crazy as a fox like me, because I'm nuts. And I saw this, I literally saw this and I was like, oh my God, I gotta make that. Let's figure out what we can make it in. And I stitched and Fresh Fig Favorites. I think I'm gonna have like 5 quilts out of it. I just love those colors when Joanna does them. So that will be our last new quilt along for 2022. So now we're going to take another break, and I'll be right back. Gather your questions on anything that I just went over so I can answer them. And then when I come back, I'm going to talk about my 2023 plans.
Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Sweetfire Road, or find me on my website at sweetfireroad.com.
Hello, I'm Brigitte Heitland from Chic, a German designer. I love to create modern and sophisticated fabrics and quilt designs, and my quilting aesthetic is less is more. You can find me on Instagram at MODA and on YouTube at Quilting, where I sew along with you.
Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here. It is going to be such an exciting time sewing the Sewcialites with you. You can join me at YouTube at Pat Sloan, over at Facebook at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, Instagram, same name, Pat Sloan, and I have a website, newsletter, so I hope you join me and we will have a great time.
Hi, I'm Jane Davidson from Want It Need It Quilt, talking to you from sunny Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. You can find me on Instagram at QuiltJane or my site quiltjane.com.
Hi, I'm Maddie Nelson. My mom Carrie is a Sewcialite. I'm not really sure what that is, but I know it involves fabric and blocks. And you can see what she makes right here. And yes, she's holding a toy to keep my attention.
Hi, I'm Robin Pickens. This is my last year's Sewcialites Sew Along. I hope that you are doing this year's. You can find me at robinpickens.com for my blog, on Facebook, Robin Pickens Color and Quilt, and Instagram, Robin Pickens. Please come sew with us.
Hi Sewcialites, my name is Barbara Groves. I design quilting patterns, books, and fabrics for MODA. I like to hang out on Instagram, so follow me there, and I'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Jessica Dayon, and you can find me on my blog at jessicadayon.blogspot.com and also on Instagram at Jessica Dayon.
Hey Sewcialites! My name is Camilla Ross Kelly, and I am a MODA fabric designer and pattern designer as well. You can find me online at thimbleblossoms.com, on Instagram at thimbleblossoms, and even on Facebook under Thimbleblossoms by Camilla Ross Kelly. I'm excited to sew with you guys.
Hello, I'm Doug Lico from Antler Quilt Design. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Doug Lico.
Hey y'all, it's Susan Aki here, and you can find me on Instagram at yardgrl60.
Hey everyone, I'm Beverly McCullough of Flamingo Toes. You can find me at flamingotoes.com and at Flamingo Toes on Instagram and Facebook. Super excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bonjean from Primitive Gatherings. You can follow me on my Stitch with Lisa Bonjean on Facebook, my blog at lisabonjean.com, Instagram at Lisa Bonjean, and my Stitch with Lisa Bonjean YouTube channel. See you there.
Hi, I'm Lisa Alexander from MODA Fabrics. You can follow me on both Instagram and Facebook at MODA Lisa with 2 S's.
Hey everyone, I'm Andy Knowlton. My company name is A Bright Corner. Come and visit me at abrightcorner.com or on Instagram and Facebook at A Bright Corner.
Hello, fiber friends. Charisse Nicole of Sew Hooked on Treasures. You can find me on my website, sewhookedontreasures.com, which conveniently has the links to all my socials, Pinterest, Instagram, you name it, at Sew Hooked on Treasures.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Stratton, and my pattern company is Chelsea Stratton Designs. I'm so excited to be a Sewcialite, and you can find me on social media at Chelsea Stratton on Instagram and www.
So thanks for letting me take a little break, and thank you for everyone who has stuck through. I know this is a ton of stuff, but I want to be able to give you all the tools you need at home if you want to join me in my little crazy 26 quilt journey. So I'm going to answer questions, and then we're going to move to 2023 plans. So the first question is, the size of the charmed quilt is small. It's 28 by 37. Good minky fabric for backing. Yes. if you're doing a minky backing and it's a big quilt, I would use the 90-inch wide. That is actually the best-selling minky we sell. I think you just match your color, but I do think platinum is always a great gray. I have over 1,000 items on my wish list. Oh my gosh, I know. I definitely sit and think about it after the live stream. What do you really think you can accomplish before you buy everything? Because it's a lot. When you give backing requirements, do I add in extras if you're sending it to a long arm quilter? Yes, always. Any quilt pattern you buy from anybody does that. If they do it, let's say 95%. Most people do. Do I have an expected date for the Charmed Quilt Book? Yes, Monday. Late Monday. Okay, so super chats. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Valeria Bauer and Maria Aria. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you for watching. I'm always crazy excited that everybody is watching. Okay, so we're gonna move to 2023. So, oh, another super chat. Yay, awesome. Thank you, Maria Aria. Okay, so for 2023, we will be having a live stream in December that talks about breaking up everything I'm doing into my planner so I can accomplish my goals. So you can look forward to that. Now, I started my 2023 journal. I will be doing a fill out of this with you guys so you can learn how to do this. Now, you don't have to have this journal. You could keep it on a file on your desktop. You can make your own. You could just handwrite on a piece of paper. You don't have to have this, but it is important to keep track of certain things. Okay, so Scrappy Spools. If you bought the Scrappiness Is Happiness book pre-sale that we sold from Lori Holt, she gave this free pattern to you. So if you pre-bought this, you got this free. If you didn't pre-buy, you can buy this in October. Now I'm gonna show you how awesome this pattern is and how awesome Sarah is for doing this. There are 14 different blocks, I believe, 16 blocks. We will be sewing a few blocks each week with more details coming on the blog to make this. This will not begin until January 2023. For the fabric requirements, you need scrappy prints. That bundle that I showed you earlier is Scrappy Happy Starter Fat Quarter Bundle would be great. You could probably split that between both of the quilts. You could probably do the bigger quilt first, which is the Scrappiness Is Happiness, and since these are smaller blocks, use the leftovers for this, so you don't have to buy something extra. For the spool backgrounds, you need 1 3/4 yards. For the spools, the colored part, you need 2 yards. For sashing and border, 2 3/4 yards. And scrappy binding will be used from your fabrics left over, or you can use 7/8 yard of one print. And then if you're going to use a 108 backing, you need 2 2/3 yard. And if you're going to use 44-inch wide, you need 5 5/8. Now, for the version, these are the ones that Lori picked that would be great. Now, they're not what I'm using, but there are other options. She recommends C6381 brown for your spool background, 6404 nutmeg for your spool background, 6382 brown for sashing and border. Scrappy, she recommends using from here, and she recommends wide back 9709-blue. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, because of course I'm doing it different. Now I'm going to do the same thing I just mentioned to you, how I'm going to use this calico bundle. This is brand new. This is not coming out until December, but we got sample yardage this week. So this is calico. You've probably, you know what, we're going to zoom in so you can really see the fabrics, because y'all haven't probably seen these yet. Okay, so I'm going to just place them. This is what I'm going to be using. And y'all are going to love this, because this is that Farm Girl vintage print. Okay, here's the purples. I'm not going to be using those. So I know all you purple people get mad, but I can't put it in if I don't love it. Oh, this is purple too. Bye. Orange and orange. Sorry, Lori's going to kill me for saying that. Lots of yellows, and this is that Farm Girl vintage print that was so popular. It's slightly changed though, I think. Okay. So this is what I'm using, the calico, and you can pre-buy this at Fat Quarter Shop the same day it comes in. We'll ship it out to you in December. And this isn't starting until January, so you have plenty of time. Love it. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And then there's some backgrounds. I don't think these will be in the bundle. I think this is what comes in the bundle, plus the purple. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one out because it's medium. And I'll probably take these two out because they're too dark. So don't ever be afraid. You can take stuff out. You could add stuff in. I can use some of the prairie that I have that I'm using in Scrappiness Is Happiness. So if I don't have enough variety, I'm going to have a ton of leftovers from this, so I can mix and match these, which is why I haven't used all my leftovers from my other group, because I'm saving that for this. Okay, so this is my scrappy pieces for my spool, and I just decided this yesterday. So this is not on a blog, this is nowhere, because I just made this up within the last 24 hours. I picked 12 842 T-dye for my spool, and I'm going to show you this, but then I've got some images to help it make sense. My spool background is 747 Cottage, and there is a sashing and inner border, and I'm going to use 12 860 Cottage from the Calico collection. So I'm going to pop up an image of the full quilt. That is how I have it colored. So you can see how light that is. Lori and Sarah colored it for me, so thank you to them. You notice they took the purples out and they took the dark browns out because they know I don't like them. So you can see this right here in the sashing, but when you look at this next photo, you're going to see this. This is the block background that you see right there, and this is right there on the edge. Now, just like I did in Scrappiness Is Happiness, you could use one fabric. You could use something you already have at home. So I would encourage you, as you watch all these things that I'm showing you, use what you have, and more importantly, use what you love. If you don't love the fabric, you're going to be much less likely to finish it. These two blocks I just showed are colored in what I'm going to do. So that will be So Scrappy Spools. I'll show you the pattern one more time. And again, it will be a PDF in October if you didn't pre-buy the book. And I'm going to start sewing this. And I will, same thing, as we go through the sew along starting in January, I will be giving you hints of how to make the blocks, just different tips. I'm going to always try to give you my tips to see if it helps you. Please feel free to donate your purples to me. That's funny. So that is our first thing for 2023. Our next thing I think you guys are going to love. I'm going to do some pop-ups to kind of show you. This is hint number 1. Look at that background. Hint number 2, different background. Those, we're going to go between those a couple of times. Those are just hints for the free Star Stream Scrap Quilt design for 2023. Designed by Jocelyn, free from us to you. We will be releasing this free pattern that's called Star Streams Scrap Quilt in December. And I have those 2 digital blocks to show you. One of them, the background is 6384 Sea Glass. And one of them is C747 Jade. The fabric we mocked that up in is calico. And now these are the 2 backgrounds, but that's just to show you what it is. The quilt is going to finish this year at 56 by 64. The blocks are going to be 8 inches square, but it will be the type of design that you can easily make larger or smaller by adding or subtracting blocks. But what I'm going to do for this quilt, I'm going to pop up those blocks again. But for this quilt, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep one background for the whole year, because I was able to use different backgrounds this year for the Brickhouse because they're within each block. This is going to be something where all the blocks touch. But so I'm going to use one background and all scraps from the whole year. And it's going to be similar to Brickhouse, except that I'm going to pick one background. I am going to be using 20708-36 because that's my favorite background. Now, you can, when you see the design in December, decide if you're going to use scrappy fabrics, like a bunch of different ones of these, or one background. But I want you to not buy anything for that because it's supposed to use up all your scraps for the year. So there's nothing to buy there. Okay, the next sew along for 2023, I have a lot of stuff. This book is hot off the press. Jolly Bar Book 4. We are going to be selling a set of all 4 books. And I'm just going to kind of flip through so you can see the beautiful quilts. We will be showing all of the blocks right here in Beyond Bella late in 2 weeks. And Sarah pieced all of those, and Sarah did the book. So, and Angel, Crystal, Nova, and Sarah and Jocelyn designed all the quilts in the book. This is hot off the press. The blocks I'm about to show you are in no particular order. From January 19th through March 16th, we are going to have the Jolly Bar 4 Quilt Along. The book just arrived yesterday, so I would pick this up, but the sew along is not going to start until January. You will notice we do try to space out our quilt along so that you can actually finish them. On October 18th, Marissa will be posting the blog post announcement, and it will include the fabric requirements. And that will give you information you need. Today, this is just a big tease. So today, I am going to show you the blocks that I sewed in Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea. So when you saw earlier the brick house using Simply Delightful, the log cabin using Simply Delightful, and the economy block using Simply Delightful, those were leftovers from this quilt. I'm going to show you the blocks in no particular order, and fabric requirements, like I said, will be coming out in about 2 weeks. So I'm just going to show you the blocks, and as always, on the week that we feature this, I will give you tips. So I kept tips when I sewed this to give you. On this, I used 20708-36 as my background because MODA didn't have enough sample fabric from the collection to give me in advance. And if you are going to make yours in Simply Delightful using those Jolly Bars, you will want to take screenshots of this Sarah did color this for me, I believe. Now this one, when I made this one, I went ahead and took, it's kind of weird, but I had it said, Mama said so, and I was like, I didn't really, that was kind of weird for me. So it just says so, said so. So I thought, well, I'll just crop that off. So I did. So I sewed a block in the bottom left of this. It says Kimberly Jolly, so now I don't have to put one on the back. The book came out on Monday. You can use a charm pack for the spool quilt along, but I'm not, I mean, you could use a charm pack, but you might want to start with something bigger. I don't think that's a good idea. I would start with a Jolly Bar or a layer cake. You're not going to have enough to do the duplicates. This one is going to be, when you see those fabric requirements that come out, they're going to mention an accent fabric. That's what this accent fabric is used for. Again, you have to wait till October 18th to find out. But I thought, since I sewed the blocks, I should just go ahead and show you how they look. And it'll get you excited to see the book that just came in. And again, 2023. So I'm just way ahead. This is also the accent. I always sew 3 to 4 months in advance, keep notes of what to talk about on the live streams, but that is how I'm able to do so much for you guys, because I just work in advance and I kind of powered through. I made all of these in a day and a half. This was actually pretty easy. Lots of big pieces. Now, disclaimer. You might not be able to make it exactly like I did, because I kind of lost track of which fabrics I was using because I started with scraps. I didn't start with a Jolly Bar because I don't have a Jolly Bar yet. Jolly Bars aren't here yet, so I started with scraps and a layer cake. So you might not be able to get it exactly the way I did it, but you can get close. And I usually try to make it where you can make it exactly like me. I do. But I accidentally swapped some stacks, and then I was way off. And I was like, you know what? You cannot starch Jolly Bars for these patterns. If you want to use the patterns and starch, all you have to do is use layer cakes, which is really beside the point because I am trying to sell Jolly Bars, but what you can do is just use a layer cake, you'll be fine. This is the same block made twice. I did try to use as many of the backgrounds as possible on this one, which I don't usually do, but my plan when I started this was to use just exactly the fabric requirements. But then I just got my stacks mixed up, so I'm really sorry. I actually think it was Peyton that got my stacks mixed up, because he helps me in my sewing room. Like, he helps me organize, he helps me starch, and then when I'm done, I just put them on a big design board. So because my kid was helping me, we just, you know, he didn't know any better. And it would have taken me too long to figure out how to go back and fix it. So you can look forward to this. Now, I'm moving my blocks. And then I'm going to show you, to answer the question we had earlier. And just so you know, I'm going to put that in my 2023 book. I don't even think I have it in here yet. But that will go in my 2023 book. So if you look behind me, the quilt on my left is Parish, Country Rose by Layla Boutique. Fabric arrived today. So we're gonna try to cut that kit today, package it, put it online so we can start shipping that to you now. But it just arrived, so that was like perfect timing. So the quilt kit, if it's not live yet, it is, you can click to be notified, but should be available today or Monday. This quilt is called, okay, so sorry, this is Parish Quilt Kit. This is Frills Quilt Kit. Features Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly. Kit is on the coming soon page. It is not going to be for sale until November. Now, if you look, front cover, back cover. So the front cover is the Parish Quilt Kit. The back cover is the Frills Quilt Kit. This is Country Rose by Layla Boutique and Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly. And just as a summary, we're going to be doing a combination. It's not every block in the book, but it's a lot of them, and it's going to be a fun sew along for 2023. Okay, we're moving to another sew along for 2023. Now, like we mentioned earlier, Barn Star Sampler sold out. I think the book actually had to go into reprint. It is published by Martingale. And when I got this book, because they send them to me and I flipped through them, I just fell in love with it. And I was like, you know what? I've got to make it. And then we got a lot of questions about all of you wanting to make it exactly like me. So we have made that possible. So I'm going to sew up this sampler quilt in 2023 starting in January. We will put on the blog what dates will be what month, but we are going to go in the order of the book. So I'm going to read you the fabric requirements because the book is sold out. Now, the quilt is going to finish at 80 by 100. The fabric I'm using is a combination of Sun Washed by Corey Yoder and Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea. I'll be going over that in a second. Now, you need fabric 1, 5/8 of a yard. Fabric 2, 3/4 of a yard. Fabric 3, 3/8 of a yard. Fabric 4, 1/2 yard. Fabric 5, 1 1/4 yards. Fabric 6, 3/8 of a yard. Fabric 7, 3/8 of a yard. Fabric 8, 1/4 of a yard. Fabric 9, 3/4 of a yard. Fabric 10, 1 1/8 yards. Fabric 11, 3/4 yards. Fabric 12, 1/2 yard. Fabric 13, 7/8 yard. Fabric 14, 1 1/4 yards. Fabric 15, 3/8 of a yard. Fabric 16, 3/4 of a yard. Oh my goodness. Fabric 17, 1/2 yard. Fabric 18, 3/8 of a yard. Why did I say I was going to do this? I didn't know it was going to be this complicated. Fabric 19, 1/2 yard. Fabric 20, 3/4 of a yard. Fabric 21 and 22, 1 yard of each. Fabric 23, 3/4 of a yard. Fabric 24, 1 yard. Fabric 25, 2 1/4 yards. Fabric 26, 1 5/8. Fabric 27, 2 yards. And fabric 28, 3/8 yards. Backing, they did not list. Now, when I read something like this, it drives me nuts. So, I just decided I'm just going to start with half yards. So I picked some blues, pinks, yellows, greens from, and I have them all out of order on purpose and all mixed up on purpose just to show you. Sarah colored it and her and I worked with it, and we're just starting with 1/2 yards. And a lot of you called Elva and said you wanted a bundle. So we are going to make a 1/2 yard bundle, and it's a starter bundle for this. Now, this is a perfect example of use what you love. Sarah knows the colors I love. And we put together this bundle. Well, she did. She did it, and then I tweaked it just a little bit. And if you are going to make it, you should be able to make it with this and some background, and I'm going to talk about that. So this is what we picked for, these are just fat quarters, but you're going to start with 1/2 yard. This is all I had. I just picked a bunch of 1/2 yards. How many did I pick? I picked 33. Now you'll notice this used 23, but it was like random, half yard, fat quarter, 1/3. It's just all too much. I'm just gonna start with half yard of 32. That's more fabrics than you need, but there's also, it's probably gonna be just enough. It's probably not gonna, you're not gonna have too much left over. And I'm gonna wing it because I'm not gonna go to a store or to my website, fatquartershop.com, and try to order all that separately. That's too much of a pain. Now, I'm gonna start with this half yard. My binding is here because I love this. So you need the book that is now sold out. It will come back in November, December. You need the what we label those fabrics is the Barn Star Sampler Starter half yard bundle. You're gonna need background. I'm going to use what I always use, 20708-36, because I love it so much. I'm gonna probably start with 8 yards. Well, I'm starting with a bolt. The bolt is at home. If I were you buying it, I would start with 8 yards because you have to have a lot of background and you waste a lot, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. The other thing you might need, and you might not, is we put together a Barn Star Sampler foundation paper set. And this includes things that will help you. There are different half square triangles, flying geese, and square and a square sizes. And as each week or each month when we feature it, I will give you my tips and I will tell you what paper you can sub. So you could always, if you know how to sub, go ahead and sub, or wait for me to tell you. Now I wanted to show you a couple things on this. These are those cap sets that I talked about. I'm using these cap sets because they're already starched. And I'll use this up before this. So this was already starched from a cap set from a long time ago. I'm going to use this, but I'm going to try to use this up first. So if that confuses you, I'm sorry. This is just kind of keep my scraps. But I wanted to go ahead and do block 1 to show you. Okay, now, one thing I'm going to show you that is going to differentiate what I do versus the book instructions. In the book, they have you make, this is block 1 right here, and this is block 1 right here. They have you make 2 blocks exactly the same. I'm going to do 2 blocks completely different. So this is 1. You have to make this block twice. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest right here. I was like, oh, I'll just go home. I'll just make the block. It'll be like 3 hours. It took me 8 hours to make this block. 8 hours. So I had hoped to be able to show you this in 2 colors, but I didn't have another 8 hours. But I do have lots of tips. So, and we will be announcing on the blog later in the year the dates, and it will be in order of the book. So if you want to get ahead, just get ahead. You can use your scraps. And again, the book will be available soon. The foundation paper is available now. The half yard bundle will be available in February. I know we're starting it in January. We try to time things, just doesn't always come out perfectly. Now what I wanted to show you, this is a different bucket. Remember how I said I bought 2? This is a different bucket. So, I have to try to remember. Oh, so this is a corner square on a rectangle. So I saved the leftovers from that, sewed a 1/4 inch away for my scraps, and cut these to save for something else. These are from this leftovers, and these are from those leftovers. So I'm starting to keep, And I'm going to keep all these in one bucket because these are all going to be matchy-matchy. I'm going to keep them separate from the other bucket. And the reason why is I'm going to keep these. I'm going to try to make this one quilt. This will be another quilt because it's matchy-matchy. Now, when I said it took 8 hours, it's because I was doing all this. And this took forever to like do. It took way longer than I thought. So making the block, you could probably do it in 6 hours. This just added time, but I am keeping them separate. And if any of you see these at a Home Goods in Austin, Texas, please tell me the location so we can buy more, because we've been looking, but we haven't found one. But again, more information will be coming later in the year on the blog, detail by detail. I just wanted to kind of show you something fun to look forward to in 2023. And again, that will go in this book with all the details. And the designer of this is Shelley Cabana, published by Martingale. Now my next quilt is so awesome. I'm so happy to finally show it to you in person. It is the 2023 Bountiful Charity Quilt. Okay, so I'm gonna let it sit here and then we'll kind of move it around as I talk. So we are going to be raising money with this quilt design for Make-A-Wish for 2023. We just got the Make-A-Wish donation page, which is why we haven't shown you this, because we want to raise as much money as possible. We have currently raised $140. So we have $860 left to raise. So starting next March, we're going to go March to August. We're going to post a free block pattern, and it will be on our blog on the 1st of the month. We will be posting the first Friday of each month. We will be posting fabric requirements for this quilt in January, unless we raise $20,000 now. As soon as we hit 20,000, we release fabric requirements. We do have goals throughout the year where we release different extra patterns, and that's so that we can keep the fundraising going. Kevin and I will be donating $20,000 to Make-A-Wish for 2023. MODA Fabrics will also be donating $10,000. And our goal from you guys is $100,000. And again, throughout the year, I will be showing you different children that benefit from all of our fundraising. We do encourage you to start donating if you can. And of course, you're donating directly to Make-A-Wish, so you can write that off on your taxes. This is our beautiful backing. Now, we have a quilt kit for sale, pre-sale. We have a backing set for pre-sale. And Corey Yoder designed this. The fabric collection for all of it, including the background, is from Sunwashed by Corey Yoder. The quilt finishes at 64 inches square. And you can pre-order that now at Fat Quarter Shop. It's exclusive to us. And I'm going to show you something really fun. I thought it would be fun to show you this. So if you pre-buy this kit, it comes packaged in a lovely box. And you guys have collected those boxes over the years. This is the origination of the box. When Jocelyn designs these and Brittany designs these, they're literally done on a piece of paper and taped together by hand to approve. So this is what your box is going to look like. A tiny, tiny version of it. And this, I think that there are going to, I'm not sure if this is the final one or not, but just so you know, I think this one's final, and the floss box that we're going to do for the cross stitch side is not final yet, so I can't show you that one. But it's just fun to see behind the scenes and see how creative Jocelyn is, because, I mean, She could just give me a flat piece of paper and say approve this, but she doesn't. She tapes it together. It's going to be a limited edition box. When you get the kit, you will get this box, all the fabrics, and all of the block patterns. So you get that before everybody else. That's your benefit of buying the quilt kit. And that printed pattern is only going to come in that kit. So that's going to be your bonus item. And then your backing set, you're going to love. This is probably my favorite piece backing we've ever done. So all of this over here is one fabric. I think I have it upside down. Do you think that's upside down?
No, that's right.
You think that's right? Okay. And so hopefully we'll be over $140 after this live stream. So you can pre-order this. And if you go to the quilt kit and scroll down, backing set, scroll down, or the blog, scroll down, there's a link directly to the Make-A-Wish page. And with the backing set, the benefit of buying the backing set early is you get the backing pattern early. That printed backing will only come with the backing set. So that's your benefit of buying the kit. And that's how we raise money to be able to make our donation to Make-A-Wish for $20,000. And of course, we make a lot less than $20,000. We're just trying to, pay for part of it. So that is Bountiful. I hope you're excited. And even though I showed you all that, I still have more. Still have more. Oh, actually have quite a bit more. We're not even close to being the end, so we're going on world record today. Okay, this week, we just announced that we at It's So Emma partnered with Susan Aki, brand new book. I'm gonna flip through it a little bit, just let you see. Now this is a peek. This is not the final book in any way. This does not have everything. 6 quilts, 10 cross-stitch pieces. And you can see this is how we start a book. This is what Sarah does. This will be photos. So this is kind of fun just to see. There's going to be tips here. Really fun. So I'm going to let Jordan go through the real photos, but I just kind of wanted to show you that. So this is the Summer Memories book that It's So Emma is publishing for Susan Aki. It's going to have 6 traditional quilts, 10 cross-stitch designs. You can pre-order at a discount. Ships in April. We're hoping we might be able to ship it in March. We just have to see. We will be having, the reason I'm showing you this is we're going to be having a quilt along in the summer of 2023. Here are some photos that Sarah has taken of the quilts. That's the first 2. The 3rd and the 4th, I love them. And the 5th and the 6th. Now that summer picnic quilt on the left, that happens to be my favorite. That actually is 5 different blocks. We are going to do our Summer Memories quilt along using that quilt, and Susan put together a Summer Memories starter fat quarter bundle. Oh, sorry, I forgot. This is the cross stitches. And that is going to be the starter bundle. And that is meant to just get you kind of like some colors, and then you add to it from your stash. So you can pre-order that book at Fat Quarter Shop, and you can look forward to the sew along with this quilt. More details to come. Susan Aki will be sewing along, of course, and she does beautiful work, and she will have tons of tips on color placement, color theory, and the book will also include that. So that's going to be super awesome, just something to look forward to. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was MODA just showed up on Monday with our sales rep. Well, the sales rep came Monday, and we got to buy the 2023 Christmas groups and the 2023 spring groups. And when I was going through, and this is Vanessa Gertzen, if you guys didn't know, when we were going through, we noticed this is a quilt kit right here. And this is the pattern. And, you know, I was like, you know, we had so many people love her original Christmas collection. And it's very similar to the one she did before. This is it. And I am going to do a video showing all of these fabrics, a pre-recorded video soon. And it's going to have all of this so you can see the actual fabrics. But when I saw this, I thought, you know, that's really cool. I like it. It could be easily divided into a quilt along. So Ashley is going to do a poll, and we're going to see if you guys are interested in the sew along. We are pre-selling the kit. It is a MODA boxed kit. Now, saying that, I will starch mine, but I will add half a yard of whatever background they put in that kit so that I'm able to chip chop a little bit in my sewing. So it's a MODA boxed kit, and it's 77 inches square. Based on if you guys want to do that, we will do it as a sew along. If you don't want to do it as a sew along, we won't. And so that will be up to you guys. So that is not in my book yet because you guys haven't voted yet. I still have 3 more. No, I still have 5 more. This is Sunny Patches. This is just a preview image that was given to the stores that purchase fabric from MODA. Corey Yoder, using her sun-washed fabric collection, is going to have a Sunny Patches quilt along in 2023. So I just wanted to kind of talk about it, tell you that I'm doing it, and more information will come later. So this is going to be the look of the quilt. You will need 1 jelly roll. I will be using the sun-washed jelly roll. You will need 2.5 yards of your background, 1/4 yard, half a yard, 3/4 of a yard, 2/3 yard binding, and 4 1/3 yards backing. This is a free mystery quilt along that will be kicking off when Sunwash ships to us. Corey will release the block patterns on her blog, which is corianderquilts.com, and she will have video tutorials each month on her YouTube channel for every block. So this is already bought the fabrics from MODA. I'm going to starch, I'm going to sew along with you guys, and you can starch a jelly roll because it shrinks across the length, not the width, and it finishes at 69 inches square. Fun to look forward to for 2023. I am stitching a lot of quilts out of this collection. Okay, the next 2 items I came up with yesterday, because when I prepare for the year, like literally, when I start my journal, I just kind of start thinking, what do I want to do? What does my year look like? What can I inspire you guys to do out of your stash, out of not having to always buy something? What can we sew along throughout the year? This released on our site on Monday, and I was like, you know what? That's really cute. It's spools, and I looked at the pattern. It uses charm packs, and it uses 64 5-inch squares. You can find these fabric requirements on our site. You just look up the Threadbare paper or PDF, click into it. The additional image will give you these fabric requirements. This finishes at 76 by 76, and this is the look of the new Camille fabric called Sunnyside. So what I wanted to show you was, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do, but I would love your feedback. So, couple options. I did decide for the background, I'm going to use, let's see, 16740 color 200. This is Beyond Bella. So it is the Bella that has the little hashtag on it. I'm trying to get it to show. we go. So you can see the little hashtag because I want to keep it very white. And then I thought about, well, I'm gonna need a color for the spools. So I decided to use Blossom by Christopher Thompson, who was watching earlier, C715 gray. And when I always kind of start with what am I gonna do? So I have two options here. I'm going to definitely use these two because this is kind of the color that will match most of what I like. So I have a couple options. I keep this 5.5-inch square scraps. This is all scraps from this year. I could pick 64 of these. You know, randomly. I could pick 64, and then I would be using 64 of these. Or I could, from 2023 scraps, take maybe 2 or 3 5-inch squares from leftovers. That will be my center. These will be for sure what I'm using for background and spools. And I could mix and match designers. These happen to, these are all Camille right here, just randomly. So I could go through and pull one designer from here. I could wait and do next year. I could mix and match. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's kind of up in the air, but it is a way to use up the scraps. Now, one thing I won't do, I won't start with a charm pack because I starch and the charm pack will shrink. So to make this work, I'm either gonna use, I'm not gonna buy a pre-cut. My goal on this is I'm not gonna buy anything except these two fabrics. I'm going to use scraps that I already have or that I come up with in 2023. I'm going to pick a binding from my stash, and my backing I will figure out in next year when I kind of get my quilt going. So I came up with this yesterday. That's the second spool quilt now that I've shown you today. I showed you a Lori one earlier, Camille one, and I don't know, I love this pattern too, and I've always wanted to make it. So on this one, I picked a background that has stripes, just because I thought that'd be fun. 5523217. The reason I thought a stripe would be fun is I'm gonna make all the stripes go the same way, which will make the quilt more complicated and add some hard pieces to it because I want it to be challenging. So I picked, what did I say? One Fine Day stripe because I love it. Then I picked that same Christopher Thompson fabric, C715, but I picked silver. So I'm not going to tell you the size of the rectangles because that would give away Camille's pattern. But you can cut from your 4.5-inch squares rectangles to go in here. So my plan on this one, either pull from here, pull from 2023 scraps, but only buy this. Pull my binding from my stash and pick my back later, sorry. And I'm gonna make my quilt much larger. This is 14 by 16. I'm gonna just make it really big. I'm just gonna make a lot of these really small blocks and just have like a huge quilt. So this is something to look forward to for next year. Kind of what I'm thinking is I am going to just add cornerstones here and make it larger and just make it like maybe 6 by 6 or 8 by 8, but add cornerstones and cut some 1.5-inch squares from all the scraps, because you could cut like a rectangle for a spool and then a little square. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to try to use each fabric once. So I could pull from my 1.5-inch square box that I already have for those. So that's another idea that I have. So I might use some of this. I might use only 2023. I might mix and match designers. I might mix and match scrap fabric that I have now. with 2023 scrap fabric. We'll just kind of see what I come up with, but I just always wanted to make it, so I figured it's the perfect time. Now, considering I did all of that yesterday, I went home, and this pillow is out year-round at my house. Whether it is fall, because it is fall and it was out, I love this pillow. One of my favorite pillows. Gina Tell quilted it, and Gina Tell actually assembled it for me. But I love this quilt. It's always out. So I saw it, and I was like, another spool. So this is from A Scrapbook of Quilts by Joanna Figueroa and Carrie Nelson, and I just did a little bit different setting with this block. So I just thought, you know what? I would show you that, and I can. That is a great idea. I will demo some of the spool blocks because that will give you an idea of how to piece them. That's a great idea. Definitely add that. That is Beyond Bella Off-White. If we scroll up, I can tell you the SKU number again. Let's see. I don't have that one memorized. 16740 color 200. So it's color 200. I think that might be porcelain. I can't remember. But yeah, that's a great idea to do some of that. So now we are on Stronger Together. Okay, so Jordan's going to pop up the image, and this is the first time. This is a sneak peek. This is the first time we are introducing Stronger Together. So we will be releasing all of the information, including the kits, December of this year. It is our annual fundraiser for UNCF in February 2023. We will be offering this quilt pattern as a free download with a suggested donation to our UNCF fundraising page. This year, our designer is Michelle Ramsey of Quilts Made with Love, and the fabric is all speckled and one fabric from Linear. All the fabric are designed by Rashida Coleman Hale of Ruby Star Society. We will have a quilt kit, a backing set, and free patterns starting in December 2022. You cannot find this anywhere on our website. We wanted it to just be something that gives you a reason to watch the live stream because, oh sorry, our battery ran out. Something just, you know, we really want you to always be interacting with us, and so it's just something to look forward to for that. And then I'm going to answer questions and then talk about next week a little bit and then show you. We are going to have a giveaway. I forgot to tell you about that. We're going to have a giveaway, so you gotta keep watching. We're at 3 hours. You got to keep watching. Let's see if I could, one day I could come on here and go 8 hours. Do you think I could do it? I bet I could. I could talk 8 hours. Okay, so announcement for next week is we will not be live next week. We have pre-recorded a video with Camille from Thimble Blossoms. That is where those two quilt ideas came from. She inspired me by watching her, which is what I hope to do with you guys. I know that there's no way you can make all the quilts I make or all the quilts that my team makes, like Teresa helps out, all the samples. There's no way to do all of that. But I want to be able to show you something that you will like because you're not going to like everything. So that will be next week. So you won't see me next Friday, but it is a very cool video. You're going to want to watch it. Lots of quilts. I think there's like 36 quilts in there, so that's super awesome. And then I'm going to show you a couple of new things, and then I'm going to answer questions, and then I'm going to tell you the giveaway. So this, okay, Kevin actually asked me to show this to you. This is 55265-11 Nantucket Summer white on white. We had to have this reprinted because this is the background in Designer Mystery 2022. We have already sold 30% of what we printed. When we print these, we pay more, and we pay more per yard, and we have to reprint a crazy amount. We cannot reprint again, per Kevin. This might be gone. That's why he wanted me to tell you if you want it, we can't. That's kind of like the end of it. So that is here, which is awesome. I wanted to show you this brand new kit, Gingham Garden by Lori Holt. This is going to be so fun. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be sewing it. It's Gingham Garden, and it is a unique piecing. It uses it uses the B. Gingham's collection, which I haven't sewn yet in a quilt, and I need to, so that's on my list to plan something. It has the pattern, the 10-inch square, all of the extra fabrics for like the leaves, cornerstones, and when you buy the kit at Fat Quarter Shop, it's really neat now. Click into the product and it's going to give you some options on different rulers. There's a seed ruler you can use to make the applique pieces you can add. It's not in the kit. There is also a thimble ruler to make the pots that you can add. So that makes it super easy for you. This quilt can be starched, yes. Okay, so that is the second. And then Kevin wanted me to show you the stitch card boxes from Lori Holt. They are on sale, 30% off. So we have mint, denim, and red. And these are meant for cross stitch cards, stitch cards. But if you're not a cross stitcher, this fits perfectly recipe cards. You can also expand it to go bigger or smaller. You could fill the whole thing up. You could use this as a Rolodex for contacts, addresses. That quarter bundles fit perfectly. Fabric fits perfectly. They're great to take to retreats. 30% off, and this morning he told us he's not sure how long he's going to leave that on sale. And then I'm going to answer questions. Okay. Will I comment on how I came up with the name Bountiful for the Make-A-Wish quilt? Yes, Jocelyn always names the Make-A-Wish quilt, and Jocelyn is a very positive, inspiring person, and she always tries to come up with something like that. So I can just say that. I don't know exactly. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. She says that that little box looks like a McDonald's cheeseburger box. That's funny because I'm hungry. There is a charity cross stitch also, yes. Will you use the half square triangles on the back of said quilt or a different quilt? I haven't decided. I could either put them on the back or make its own quilt. Sorry, my stomach is growling. Donna Lawrence, will the Rose and Bloom quilt kit be enough for Sewcialites? Probably. You might need more background, but I bet it would. There is enough in the Plaid Pines kit to starch. Will the Jolly Bar sew-along require 1 or 2? I cannot remember, but just wait for that post to come out. Because I sewed that like 3 months ago, so I can't remember. I have a question about using denim for the washing and borders. What would you request? There's a great denim color in B cross stitch. That's a denim color. Elva and customer service could definitely help you with matching colors. How many triangles on a triangle paper do you suggest for Sewcialites? Which to order to begin as a starter kit unless you're making a kit? Okay, on the triangles on a roll for Sewcialites, we aren't doing a starter kit, but if you go and download the Sewcialites information packet on page 3, it tells you 3-inch size, what you need, 6-inch, 9-inch. That's why we're not doing a kit, because most people aren't going to make all of them, and most of them are the standard sizes a lot of you might already have. Can't wait for the planning video. I'm a planner nerd. I'm definitely not a planner nerd, but I'll just show you what I do. I will say that Lori's videos on planning are much better than mine because she has like beautiful handwriting and she uses stickers. And she does have some stickers coming out from Riley Blake that are going to go good in here, and she's going to show you how to do that. So I'm looking forward to that because I might copy her. Donna has a question for the group. I bought a sew along for Rose and Bloom and I haven't started it, so I wonder if that would be enough. I think that'd be great. So guys, you do want to host a quilt along with the Jolly Holiday. Perfect. So we will add that to this, and I will see you guys soon. We are going to have a giveaway though. So today we're going to give away 3 $50 gift certificates to Fat Quarter Shop. We decided to do that because we want you to make something that we showed you today and give you some money to use towards the purchase of that. So to win, you have to comment and tell me, if you won the $50, which sew-along that I showed you today would you spend your money on? And you have until Tuesday, October 11th at midnight to enter. Ashley will pick 3 lucky winners next Wednesday and announce them in the YouTube community tab. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. I will miss seeing you guys next week, but I will take my time to read all of your comments, and any kind of comments you have for me, I'd love to read them. So have a great weekend and see you soon.